A lot of speed in that race, and he stayed on really well. Then the other day he finished third behind Tamol, but he was carrying 62 kilos as well. So I think he's the horse to beat tonight. You know, I really like him.
Yeah, I really like him as well. Drawn in 10, which isn't ideal, but he's got reasonable speed. He should be able to get gate speed. He should be able to get across, possibly Tig. And he's a pretty solid horse. He very rarely runs a bad race. This one is fascinating canvas. In the Jebel Ali Mile and in his run before when he was behind Carrera, he travelled so well. Big drop-in trip, though. It's quite a bold move by Doug.
Yeah, and especially drop-in trip in Meydan, which they go much faster than, Jebel Ali. So it'll be interesting to see. I still think he's a bit too short for him. But, it'll be interesting to see how he does over 6.
Yeah, on pedigree, he does want further.
As you say, he's a strong traveller, but the fraction will be different tonight.
Yeah, I think it's a tough ask for him. This fellow, though, has got the form to do this. He was second in the race last year, Desert Doctor. I don't see why he won't go very close again.
Yeah, Ed, he's a very good trainer. He does well. He doesn't move around without any reason, And last year, this horse proved himself to be like a dirt horse when he finished second in this race. And he ran really well last time, 7 furlong. Going back in trip tonight, I think he stands a very good chance, especially with this draw.
Yeah, 6 of his 8 wins have come over this trip, Desert Doctor. This is Rio Angie. She's, I'd say, on a recovery mission. That's a bit unfair. She was a winner over 1,400 metres 2 starts ago. And last time she was drawn wide when quite a long way behind Golden Goal. This is her first run, actually, over 1,200 metres. But she really skipped away from the Colts nicely the time before in that conditions race. And she's no forlorn hope here, really, Rio Angie. She's been a bit forgotten about in the market. It's available at 12 to 1 at one point this week. What about behavioural bias? He's got a few issues with the gates, this horse, I think.
I like this horse. I also think he's a very good horse, but last couple of times he was like jumping off very slow, and finishing well. Hopefully with the drone 2, he can jump well tonight and have a good chance to. He can win the race if he jump well, And
definitely.
He's well drawn, so.
Yeah, he's another one who's been forgotten about, and he's got plenty of ability, as has Tamol, who's had a bit of a resurgence this year. You can see he's really fit and well. And last year he picked up the listed National Day Cup and President's Cup at Abu Dhabi, and then ran below par a couple of times, and then bounced right back to form with a victory here over Dark Silver. In fact, he's taking a bit of the parade ring with him, I think. This is Pennsylvania Dutch. He ran a great race on debut here, but that was back in November 2019, and he's had a bit of a sketchy campaign since. We've only seen him a couple of times, so there's a lot to be taken on trust with him, but he's got ability. And this is Verboten, who has his first try on the dirt today. Cost Connections 200,000 at the Racing in Dubai.
Well, we got him in Afghana sale 2 years ago. He did well in France. We expect out from today. We expect a good race today, inshallah.
And how do you think he's going to handle the dirt? He's by Darasim. We don't know too much about him, do we?
Well, yeah. Actually, we tried him once in the grass. He didn't like it in France. Then we tried him in the all-weather. He was brilliant, great. When we brought him here, actually, he loved the dirt. I hope he will do something tonight.
And it's a big night for you. We can't forget Jus Storm later on. You excited about him?
Exactly. Both of them. Both of them.
Are you confident about the trip with Jus Storm?
Yes, I do. If he break nice, if he keep behind a bit, then I think he will do something tonight.
We wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, really good to hear from Abashir Al-Harari, owner of Tibasti and Jus Storm and many, many horses. He's been a real good addition to racing here and has been pretty clever with his investments. So wish him all the best this evening. And Antonio, we were just discussing Pennsylvania Dutch. He's probably going to need the run, isn't he, this fellow? It's a shame because his career was very much going the right way, and then I can only assume he got injured, and it's been difficult to get him to the track since.
Yeah, he showed like some promises last year when he ran really well at the beginning of the season. Then he hasn't run since, and he came back this year to run in the first meeting of the season, and but he didn't run really well, and then he didn't run since. So he might need a run, probably. I would say so, especially with these horses that they are now ready, probably to win. It's a tough race, but as I say, he probably will need a race.
Yeah, he's had a longer layoff even than the two international horses. Of course, Desert Doctor ran 2 weeks ago, and Tibasti was last seen in action halfway through December when he was third at Deauville. Stevens managed to avoid the flying hooves of Tamol and has returned intact from the parade ring. I thought he was the best for me. To be honest, Ali Rasharahi's horses do generally look very well.
Yeah, they do. He's obviously a very fit horse. They'll never lack for anything from that yard. He's not got a particularly sexy profile in this race, but he's just a solid contender, isn't he? And he's drawn well to get the run of the race from stall 1, if memory serves. So yeah, you can just imagine he will either track the pace or make it. Depends how hard the likes of Important Mission and Rio Angie and go from the front. Of course, Lava Spin as well. They're all on his outside, and I'm sure Jim Crowley was quite content to sit in behind. He's a solid one, but I'd say he's there to be shot at to a degree if something like a canvas can improve.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think he'll run a good race. Let's show you that bit of form Stephen just mentioned, which is Important Mission, Behavioural Bias, and also further in behind them was Rio Angie. And Important Mission, as I said earlier, I think just went a little bit too hard on the lead. Golden Goal's a class above these, really. They think he's a Godolphin Mile horse. But this was a really promising enough run from Important Mission, but he was nowhere near good enough, was he, on this occasion? And, of course, Desert Doctor in there as well.
Yeah, no, it's probably not good enough. Also, like 7 furlong, as I say, they went a bit hard, and it looks like he didn't stay that day. So back of a 6 tonight, he will stand a chance, but still I think from drawn 11 will be hard tonight.
Yeah, I think so as well. This is Tamar we mentioned, and we can see him beating, among others, Behavioural Bias last time. Stephen Antonio, I think, summed it up really nicely. He says that Behavioural Bias has definitely got the ability to win this race. He just needs to get it all together. He
does. He needs to break well. He also didn't get the clearest of runs through on this occasion. He'll probably need a strong pace, which we've already mentioned he should get. Lava Spin looked all over the winner as he went for home in this. But again, he's going to have to do plenty of work from his wide draw. And Tamol was just in the right place to pick up. And you just think Behavioural Bias, there was a gap there for him to go through, but I'm not sure he looked the most willing to go through it. Maybe today Richie Mullen will be more inclined to bring him wide of the field, although again, stall 2, that might not make things easy for him. So his horse definitely got ability, but 6 furlongs on the sharp side, needs a strong pace, and probably needs to confirm that he can put his head down where it matters.
Yeah, true. I don't think he's the easiest horse to ride, and certainly not at the stalls, but Richie's very good at getting them away on terms, and he'll be wise to any antics, I'd have thought, today. And we said before, it's not really obvious who's going to try. I guess Lava Spin, Tiger Shay's going to try and go forward on him, and Mikhail probably will on Important Mission, but there's quite a few of these are happy just to sit in behind usually.
Yeah, Lava Spin, drawn 10 is very quick, show a lot of speed, so Tag will probably jump well with him and try to get as close as he can to the rail, because I think he can be faster than Important Mission, especially from the stalls. So interesting to see the first couple of fractions.
Very swiftly being forgotten how Important Mission won the Garhoud, coming from last,
Yeah, we were saying off air earlier, Mikhail could just sit and wait.
Exactly, and I mean, I think somebody said it was the fastest 400 metres ever, his first 400 metres the last day when he made the run-in. Look, he's made all before, but just generally proven very tactically versatile. So, it might just be counterproductive to push hard from stall 11 to lead. So I've got it half in my mind that Mikhail will just let Important Mission do whatever he wants in this race. I don't see Lava Spin getting an easy lead whatever happens, so it could work in his favour in that respect, but still the draws are a bit of a concern, and I guess they'll be wise to Rio Angie as well, knowing that her best chance of winning is probably by being able to dictate, and she's got a better draw in stall 4 to do that.
Well, what do you do if you're drawn wide on a front runner? I mean, because you can't just come out the stalls and go left because you'll knock everybody over. It must be very difficult.
Yeah, it all depends the way they jump. If you miss it a bit, I won't push them. because you just waste energy, and the horse is gonna go for 2, 3 furlong, and then you're gonna stop anyway. So otherwise, here in Meydan, you're gonna find yourself 7 wide, which is not the ideal thing, you know. So sometimes you need to accept and just ride as they find them, you know.
Yeah, so a lot depends on just how they get away. And are there any clues when you're in the stalls if they're going to, you know, because I often see them acting up and then they miss the break. Can you kind of guess what they're going to do?
Sometimes you can feel it. They were trying to do something, you know, inside the stalls. And if they're not very relaxed, they won't jump as you expect, you know. So the best thing is probably to keep them relaxed and just be ready when Shane Ryan say ready to go.
Does he actually shout? Does he say go? He says ready, or jockeys?
He says jockeys, yeah.
And that means I'm pressing the button now.
Yeah. When he says jockeys, everything is open. So.
Well, not too long from Shane saying that for our opener. Desert Doctor goes forward. I don't know if you're allowed to tip, so I won't ask you, but Stephen?
I thought Canvas to go well. Hopefully Pat will get a good position midfield, travel supremely well in the Jebel Ali Mile. It is a bit of a diversion in trip all the way back to 6, but obviously a horse with plenty of ability.
I forget where I went in this. I think I went for the Important Mission, but our shrewd guest has rather put me off him. Let's see what happens. Our opener on Carnival Night 3. Good evening to Craig Evans.
Canvas about to go in. Pat Dobbs takes the ride for Doug Watson. Still waiting on Verboten to come up. Dane O'Neill in the saddle. An Important Mission for Macau, Barcelona will be right to go here for the first race of the night. Starter Shane Ryan marching off to position. And we're just about right to go now. Rostam goes forward. First race, night number 3 of the Dubai World Cup Carnival. Go there racing from the 1200 metres. Rio Angie away fairly well. Behavioural Bias trying to hold it in the early stages. So too Tamol. So Rio Angie having to work, and Lava Spin meanwhile is going to burn across with Important Mission. So Important Mission from an outside berth has gone straight to the lead here. Tamol through underneath the Behavioural Bias, followed by Lava Spin. Next of all, Desert Doctor down on the inside. Canvas going around the outside. The filly Rio Angie getting keen now and losing ground. They were followed by Verboten, then Pennsylvania Dutch and Tabasti about 4 lengths away. They come down the side, 24.06 was the lead. Important Mission joined by Lava Spin on the outside, Canvas up to 3rd, then Behavioural Bias. They were followed then by Desert Doctor at the top of the straight, Tamol. Well back is Pennsylvania Dutch and Verboten. Lava Spin goes to a narrow lead over Important Mission, not done with its lifting on the fence. Canvas with the last strike on them down the outside. Finishing well too is Desert Doctor. Canvas goes up with Important Mission. Lava Spin dropped off, then Behavioural Bias and Desert Doctor, but Canvas reaches the lead, begins to draw away, and Canvas is going to be too good in the first. Canvas dropping back to the 1200, wins easily in the end. Second side, Behavioural Bias or Important Mission, then Desert Doctor. They were followed by Lava Spin, Verboten, then Tamol, Pennsylvania Dutch, Tabasti, and Rio Angie unable to lead as cracked to run at the Rio. 1:10.44 is the time there, and Canvas will take it out. Number 4 for Pat Dobbs, and Doug Watson in a striking position throughout. Has let down very strongly. Got the better of Important Mission. Behavioural Bias finished on stoutly, but in the end Canvas has been too strong and takes it out. At his 7th time to the races, has been able to prevail here. That's his 4th run in the UAE. 1 start at the end of last season, 3 this year, and has gone better than his first 2 runs at Jebel Ali, where it's finished in the placing. So cutting back in distance here to the 1200 metres, Canvassed has come right away in the late stages. Tied for second, Important Mission or Behavioural Bias, finishing well out in the middle of the track. Lava Spin went up to tackle Important Mission, but it was fought off relatively early on in the straight. Desert Doctor finished okay down the outside. 1:10.44 is the winner's time here. So Canvassed will take out the first, the Minnow Rashid.
So it turns out that Canvas is a sprinter, or he is now. That was a really good performance. And my issue with this was before, Antonio, he travelled so well on both of his runs at Jebel Ali this season and his run before at Meydan. I thought he's either just a strong traveller or, as it turned out, he just wasn't getting home over the mile.
Yeah, exactly. He was always traveling very strong and probably never finishing like he did tonight. Tonight he was traveling very well into the race, and when he switched on the outside last furlong and a half, he just like quickened up pretty well. He looks like a nice horse.
Yeah, Stephen, you tipped him on the winning line, and he's kind of, I think, confirmed the belief that they've held him in. They've always thought he was a nice horse. They were very patient with him the end of last season when I think he suffered from sore shins, but he's got it all together tonight.
He has, and he got the perfect track through, really. It's kind of how he panned out. We thought he would. Lava Spin and Important Mission did go forward. Rio Angie spat the dummy out when she was taken on, and Pat Dobbs was able to slot in. He was quite happy to go 2 or 3 wide, and it seems as, I don't know whether you'll confirm this, Antonio, but it's handier challenging 2 or 3 off the rail, it seems, in the straight. It just seems that maybe a bit of a dead rail at times.
Yeah, you know, I think the track it changed a lot this year, and it's more fair. Horses come from everywhere, and it looks probably better when you're not on the rail at the moment, especially in the straight. You see many horses winning from them in the middle of the track this season, so it's very nice to ride now at the moment. The kickback is less, so I really enjoy when I ride in Meydan. Still, when you're at the back, it's not very nice. But
No, it can't be when you're getting all the kickback. He's a really nice horse, this son of Shamadal, out of a mare called Painter's Pride, and he wasn't really bred to be a sprinter, but Stephen, you just pointed out off air, Shamadal's produced a few good sprinters.
Yeah, it seems that way, doesn't it, that he's certainly put more speed into him, and this first experience of sprinting's not going to be lost on him either. He was comfortably able to go the pace. You felt if Pat Dobbs wanted to put him a length or so closer, he would have done so. All in all, I think this is a very exciting performance for me. He's beaten Important Mission, who's a solid 100 rated horse. You could maybe argue he's gone a stride or two too quick again, but then you've got Behavioural Bias and Desert Doctor, who've been rock solid markers in 3rd and 4th, so I think this is a very solid performance. Canvas was rated 97, so he'll go up early hundreds, maybe 102, 103, and whether they'll be thinking of going straight to Super Saturday in the sprint there, or taking a handicap along the way, I don't know, but I do think as a 6-year-old, time is almost running out with him, so it's worth a try maybe this year, particularly if that Mahab Al-Shamal comes up a bit weak. Which
I think it might do. It is one of the stronger divisions, though, locally, the sprint division. He's not a million miles off getting an invitation to the Shaheen, is he? If you say if they go to the Mahab Al-Shamal, he runs well in there, gets himself up to sort of the high 100 and somethings, and it'd be interesting to see how they go with him. He's in the right hands, certainly, and I think there's plenty that have run with credit in behind. I don't know how poor old Lava Spin's finished 5th. That was another huge run from him. And Important Mission as well. Interesting that Mikhail did manage to get across from that wide draw in 11, and the horses looked beaten and then fought back, which was to his credit, really. He's run a fine race, but just run into one who's got quite a few less miles on the clock in Canvas, only having the 6 starts. And Pat Dobbs has totally stuck with this horse right the way through. When they've had other good ones in the race, he's always opted to ride him.
Yeah, and I think the fact that they threw him in the Jebel Ali Mile as well, I mean, okay, it may have been a touch of desperation and partly aimed at trying to get his rating up, but I think that is a sign of the regard in which he's held, and just back on a flat track today. You know, he's more settled now, I think, as well. That one start last year, he did get quite worked up going through the tunnel and out onto the track, and he looks a happier horse now, which can take time, you know, here in the UAE. So if he can be kept sound and he's obviously had those sore shin problems in the past, then I think he's definitely a sprinter that's still capable of ranking higher, and they won't be afraid, I don't think, to even go back to 7 were there the need, but I probably don't think there is now.
I don't think there's any more races over 7 on the dirt, are there, this carnival? I think we've had probably that one particular race. He's a bonny horse, and well done to owner Sheikh Mohammed Abeid Al Maktoum. I think I'm right in saying it's his first winner here since postponed a few years ago, but he's had 34 now in total, and he's very selective and wise with the horses he brings over here. This one formerly trained in the UK by Roger Varian, for whom he did very well, won a couple of starts for him. And Stephen mentioned he is a bit buzzy when he won, when he ran at Ascot, he was taken down to the start early, so the Red Stables team may have done a good job to settle him. And great to see Doug Watson and indeed Noel Connolly back on course. They've had a torrid time of things, but the horses have come back fighting. And actually, when Masaba had the same situation, Antonio, couldn't run for 2 weeks. They came back with a treble, and now Doug's come back. Maybe the break does them good.
Yeah, you know, sometimes when the horses are really fit, skipping like 2 weeks, they get a break, they get like oxygen back, you know, and so they come back with a bang, you know. That was a great week when Musaba came back, and we had 3 winners here in Maidan. The horses were running really well, and Doug Watson did exactly the same. He came back and he won many now in a couple of weeks. So yeah, and you know, he's always like been a very good trainer, so he knows what he's doing. And it was a bit weird to see Canvas tonight over 6, but he showed that he was right.
Yeah, so I thought it was a brave move before, but I guess they thought this horse had been showing them so much in the mornings. He travelled so well in his races. It was worth a try, and indeed it really was worth a try. It was a super victory, and they've got some nice chances throughout the weekend. They've got a lot of runners tomorrow, certainly at Jebel Ali, and 4 more today throughout the remainder of the card. Even Verboten actually ran well, finished at 6th. That's not too bad of an effort for him. First start on dirt, not beaten all that far either, so he's one to perhaps work on later on. But this horse has won it, I think, with a little bit in the tank. Is it true? We always say for horse wins with ears pricked, they've got more left. Is it an old wives' tale, or is it true in your experience?
No, it's true, because I think now, you know, this horse, after winning tonight, he gets some confidence back, and he actually can improve a lot, you know. He won quite well, because as soon as he passed the leader, he just like kept on going and winning by 2.5 lengths, you know. And when they prick the ears, usually it means that the horse start looking, so he's probably got still something to give, you know.
Pat's got him into a nice position there, pretty much out of the kickback and on the heels of the leaders. That's a nice place from which to strike from.
I think that was a perfect ride. It was a perfect ride. Get out of the trouble, you know. Perfect position just behind the leaders, and from that position he can move whenever he wants, you know. So that was just a spot on ride.
Yeah, he's kept out of any trouble, not that there was any in this race. Andrea Razzini's having to work incredibly hard on Desert Doctor there in the pink silks, and the horse does pick up, but he's run as if he'd prefer a trip a little bit further than this, perhaps back over the 1,400 metres. Important mission, as I said. I thought ran a really good race, and behavioural bias again has looked as if his best trip is probably the 1,400 metres, which did look the case before this. But a fine victory by this Canvas, a horseman to get excited about, and a minor landmark for Pat Dobbs. That's his 250th win in the UAE from 2,102 rides. If the statistics in my form guide are correct, no reason to think that they wouldn't be. So well done to Pat. 250 wins, that's not bad. How many are you on? I can't remember how many you're on in the UAE. You're on 100 odd?
I did, so I passed the 100 last year. My 100th winner was a conclusion in Jebel Ali.
Ah, yes.
And I won few after that, 10 this year, so...
110, maybe, 112 something?
No, I'm more, probably 120, I think, or something like that.
You're a lot younger than Pat Dobbs, though, aren't you?
I think so, yeah.
I think so as well. Still, he's the master of his profession, is Dobbsy. And that was a very safe, nice, easy victory for Canvas up against some good sprinters. That was a decent start to our card tonight. I thought it was a tricky race beforehand. You can make a case for most of them. And indeed, this new shooter into the sprinting block has come out on top. And we'll try and get a word with Doug Watson, because we have the opportunity to for the first time in a few weeks. But before that, it looks as though he's going to be on trophy duty. Because, of course, his owner, the horse's owner, isn't here tonight. So it looks as though he'll be picking up the trophy in a moment. But before he does that, we can hear from Salem bin Gadea. He's got some really nice runners coming up later on the card, and he gave Stephen the lowdown.
Looks like you've got a strong 2,000 Guineas team with Mashakal. He was certainly very impressive last time. Were you expecting that?
We expect this thing from him, from Mashakal, you know, just from beginning when he was with Mark Johnson, you know, just I beat this fella, you know, just, and since I sent him to Mark Johnson, all the reports, just I got from Mark Johnston and Charlie Johnston, just they was so pleased about them, it's not easy, just to get a report, just at May in England season, and the trainer told just when if he called you and he said you have a group horse, so it means a lot for me. So he have three starts with Mark Johnson, 2 thirds, 1/5, but he's almost 17 hands Steven. So imagine, just 17 hand run at May. So the horse was time, but even Mark, just believe about Mashakal. Since he came to us, just when we started him, there is just we need to see him, just in the dirt, just the dirt will suit him or not. But no, since if you ask everybody, just when he came and after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I told my team here, this is our Guineas or Derby horse. So, no, he have ability, he have a class, have a quality.
Well, his dam was obviously a sprinter, but you mentioned his physique and size. He looks more of a stayer for you than perhaps his dam was?
I mean, even his dam, just the first time, just she won a maiden over 7 furlongs. So I know, just she was top over 6 furlongs, but for me, just 6, 7, I mean, even, just she could go, just 7.5 or, I mean, mile. So she have a speed, yes, she have a speed, but I mean, no, there is space, just to get the mile, just. He's big horse, speedy horse, and even what he showed at Meydan over 7 furlong. I asked Rostin French after the race, and even for him, just he could do a mile easy.
Yeah, and we also saw Communique have his first start for you. He presumably arrived in your stable quite late and would have needed that run last week?
Here he arrived with the other horses, just I could say like end of October.
Yeah.
After the race, just even he cuffed like 10, 11 times. So I think for me, just he wasn't 100% ready, to be honest, for that race. But I mean, I said I'd like to put him in a race and give him a little bit, just at least to get a bit of fitness.
Delighted, Doug Watson, I'm sure. Now, I'm sure you've loved watching our coverage on a Thursday night, but great to be back on track.
No, it was fine. You guys do well. So, I'd love to be back on the track. And I'm going to say this all night. Dion McFadden, Amjad, who both of them used to work for me and for our stable for many years, did a fantastic job helping us out, getting the horses tacked up for this past couple weeks. Had a couple winners and some nice times. Wendy from the yard, she's been off and she's done a fantastic job. And then Brenda and Heather gave us some grooms that just helped out so much. So I just want to thank everybody that helped us out.
It's great to see you back. In Canvas, you've always felt as though he's got plenty of ability, but has sprinting always been at the back of your mind?
I don't know what, you see his form from the UK and you think a mile, and then you see we ran him over a mile last year. That you got to throw that out because he came back with the worst shins ever, and so we had to give him the rest of the year off. This year he came back and ran a nice race up the hill, giving away 20 and 18 pounds, and then ran in the mile, which was a good race. He just didn't stay, I don't think. So when he didn't stay, we were looking for options, and we said, we know he's good. He works like a real good horse, so let's give him a shot back at 6.
You do now straight to Super Saturday maybe in that sprint there?
I can't see another option anyway, and he ran back in 2 weeks from a hard race 2 weeks ago, so for him to perform like that, it'd be nice to be able to give him, it's close to a month now, or over a month, or right at a month anyway, and freshen him up and see if we can't get him to World Cup night.
Just a quick word on Uncle Hamid. Up in trip, you just expecting to pick up a few pieces hopefully?
I think he's pretty good. I mean, we'll put the visors on him. He just doesn't concentrate straight lane up the hill. Everything he shows us at home is a decent horse. So, you know, obviously there's some nice ones in there, and he hasn't won yet, so you can't say too much, but I think you'll like it around here.
Well, great to see you back, Doug. Well done.
Stephen. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Uncle Hamid returned from what was a disappointing run with a really promising one last time at Jebel Ali. I agree. He's no full-on hope later on in our Guineas. But let's wind back the clock a little bit and show you the trophy presentation for our opener here this evening. Tonight's card sponsored, as you can see there, by DP World. So our thanks to them for their support continually of racing here at Meydan, and well done to Doug Watson. That win takes him to 19, third in the fascinating Trainers' Championship behind Salem Bin Gadeo, who we just heard from. He's on 23. Ernst Ortel is on 20, and Doug now joins him, just behind him, sorry, as I said, on 19. So all to play for still in that Trainers' Championship, although I think we can safely say the Carnival Trainers' Championship will go to one of the Godolphin handlers. But really good to see Doug, even though he's had those 2 weeks off, still very much in the hunt for another championship. Let's get a little bit more information about race number 2.
Yeah, the longest race then on tonight's card is the next race on it. We're due off at 7:05 for the 2,810 metre handicap, in which Godolphin have a huge entry, so you'd expect that this one is going to go the way of the boys in blue. The full conditions for this second race, it's the P&O Marinas listed Maidan Cup, 2,810 metres the trip. There are no non-runners, which mean all 10 of them go. 7 will sport the Godolphin blue, and they're headed by Communique, one of the outsiders for Michael Barcelona and Salem Bin Gadeo. 2 is Desert Fire. Hector Crouch rides that one. Cheek Piece is on for the first time. We've then got Ispellini, former class act, one of several in here though that do need to bounce back. Charlie Appleby trains 3. We've then got Dubai Future, who got closest to Walton Street last time, albeit beaten a respectable distance. Still then Ghostwatch, the mount of William Buick. Halimi is trained by Simon Crisford and Ed Crisford. 7, Moonlight Spirit, is definitely one that needs to bounce back. Hasn't beaten a horse home on his last 3 starts. Volcanic Sky will sport the green cap with Pat Cosgrave on board. We've then got Chouane. Maxime Guillon rides for Miroslav Rulek. And finally, Global Heat, a winner at a non-carnival meeting here at Meydan, with Pat Cosgrave riding. Then Harry Bentley takes the mount tonight.
It's a very interesting race because we've got a mixture of old horses who are proven in group companies such as Ispellini and Moonlight Spirit, and then we've got new interesting ones in here such as Global Heat and, to a lesser extent, Desert Fire. So there's quite a depth to this. 7 Godolphin horses are rather scared off the internationals. We've only got one of those in here, unfortunately. Halimi does carry different silks. He's owned by Rabba Racing, though. Chouane is the only international, goes for German trainer Miroslav Rulek, who's had a couple of runners here in the past. In fact, 4 runners here in the past, and has managed a second with a horse called Samara Bend, who was runner-up here in 2014. So Chouane, I think, up against it. So we heard from Maxime Guillon earlier on, but good to see that we do at least have overseas representation against the blue, who are going to be very hard to beat here. That's Desert Fire you just saw. Here's Ispellini, who's a horse who Charlie really did regard in sort of very high order at one stage, and you can understand why. His form is super. He's 2 from 2 over this course and distance. He's won the Group 3 Nadal Sheba Trophy. He's a Group 3 winner, and he won the German St. Leger at Dortmund. He's a very good horse, but he's lost his way a bit recently. And similar comments have to apply as well to Moonlight Spirit, who is a very smart horse on his day. He's a Group 3 winner at Longchamp, second in a Group 2 there, and again lost his way and finished last on his last 3 starts. But Charlie doesn't persevere with them for no reason, so the horse must have been showing him something in the mornings for him to bring him back here. And indeed, Moonlight Spirit is the pick of James Dorr over Ispellini, which I thought was an interesting angle on the race. William Buick, understandably, partnering Ghostwatch, who's got the best recent form, albeit his most recent run was back in September. But he's a horse who they've done a good job with. I don't think he's particularly easy to train. His patchy career so far would suggest he's had plenty of issues. Ghostwatch, but they even talked about him going to a Melbourne Cup at one stage. That's the regard with which they held him. Anyway, this is Communique, who's certainly no slouch. He's a Group 2 winner. If you go back a couple of years, got quite a lot of weight to lump around here today, and I would have thought he would have needed the run last time, as Salem indicated in that interview that we just showed you. 40 to 1 was the price you could have got about him yesterday. I thought that was a really massive price. But you do have to go back a little way for that last victory, as I said, July 2019 in the Group 2 Tattersalls Stakes at Newmarket. But his best form would see him go close here. It's just whether or not he really has got enough fitness from having had that run here a couple of weeks ago. Top weight, of course, won't make things any easier for him. 7 different coloured Godolphin caps. Don't think Craig Evans has ever got one of them wrong. He's very good at getting these calls just right. And Desert Fire is another one for Godolphin. He carries the all blue. And this is him here. Sabin Straw, of course, trains. Hector Crouch is on board. Frankie Dettori's on Dubai Future, suggesting he's the first string. But Desert Fire tries this trip for the first time. He's run 2 really good races since being gelded. Firstly, when he beat Walton Street at Lingfield. And then, secondly, when he was 5th behind that rival here a couple of weeks ago in a similar race. He ran on sort of at one pace on that occasion. So I'm not necessarily sure that this step up in trip will suit him. It's certainly Willis Bellini, though. And he's only had 1 start since July, and that was in the same race behind Walton Street. He's actually very well handicapped on the best of his form. He was rated 116 when he won that German St. Ledger. And if he were to bounce back, it wouldn't be the hugest of surprises. Richie Mullen takes over. This is Dubai Future, who I think is the main danger to Ghostwatch here. He ran a super race last time when running on nicely behind Walton Street, that was such a good performance by Walton Street. William Buick got off and said that was a Group 1 performance, and he should know. Dubai Future is pretty unexposed, just had 11 starts so far, and looks very much Saeed bin Sarour's first string. It looks like he's holding a press conference there, Saeed. Godolphin Jockey's been well briefed on the social distancing. Antonio is with me to discuss Ghostwatch. Interesting horse, isn't he? He's only had 15 starts. He's the age of 6, but he's got some good form in there.
Yeah, it's interesting that William is on it. So I think he will have a chance. He's always running over a long distance, 2,800, sometimes 2 miles. So it'll be a nice horse to watch. And as you said before, the Dubai Future, he had a big run last time, especially the Walton Street beat the track record.
Yeah.
So that was a very good run. I was in that race, finishing 3rd on away goes, and so with Frankie on tonight, probably give him the first choice. So they believe that he's going to be the horse to beat tonight.
Yeah, I think he really is Dubai Future. Ghostwatch obviously got a bit more to prove in terms of fitness and things. This is Halimi. You've been riding a little bit for Simon Crisford. Have you come across Halimi? He's one that they got from Jim Bolger.
Yeah, he ran well last time. He finished 4th, not beaten far, and hopefully, he can improve with his distance. Is by Teofilo, so usually they stay for a long trip.
Yeah, again, ran behind Walton Street last time. He's a horse who Stephen pointed out yesterday was quite well exposed in his time in Ireland. Moonlight Spirit has just shown nothing whatsoever on his last 3 starts. It's a shame because he was very much going the right way when he won his Group 3 in the Prix de Lutis. That was at Longchamp back in September of 2019. He's not got many miles on the clock. He's won 4 of 10, and I just feel that the same comments applies with this Bellini. Why is Charlie keeping this horse in the yard? There must be a reason. And the reason could be that he thinks he can bounce back today, and so he looks to be the 2nd string. This is Volcanic Sky, who's actually a half-brother to Stunning Beauty, who ran for Saeed the Carnival last week. This one has won over further, Antonio, but he doesn't have quite such good form as some of the others.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't run bad last time. He's finished 6th, beaten 8 lengths in Walton Street. They all got basically the same form because they win in that race 2 weeks ago. He has been winning over further, and today the rail is out 12 meters, so he helps horses probably like this, and because he's not gonna go in front, and so help horses that they've been held up. It
was a fairly minor race. He won Kempton over 2 miles. Jim Crowley actually rode him on that occasion, and that was just one of 3 career victories for Volcanic Sky. This is Chuane. I'd love him to win, really, for German connections. He probably didn't have to do too much to win at Deauville on the all-weather back in December. Just got up by a head to beat Palpitator. That was on the poly track. Used to be trained by, or owned, I think, by Philippe Segorbe, and Miroslav Rulek and Connections picked him up for just €3,000. Global Heat's interesting, isn't he? Because he won a non-carnival race, but won it very well.
Yeah, but I think he got a very good chance tonight. I like this horse. He only carried 55 kilos, which is very important over this trip. Drawn well. I think if everything comes on his way, he can run a massive race.
There's a lot of depth to this, isn't there? I mean, I agree with you. Dubai Future has a huge chance. Ghost Watch is kind of the exciting horse to some extent, even though he's 6 now. He's got the profile of one who could run a huge race. And then we have Global Heat as well. He's just coming through the ranks. And I suppose he only beat Miracle Maker last time. And while Miracle Maker's a smashing horse, he wouldn't be up to this level. But it's the way in which he did it that was so impressive with Global Heat. And he's a nicely bred horse as well. He's a half-brother to Group 3 winner Agent Murphy. If you add up the prices of the horses in this race, it's mind-boggling. Ghost Watch cost 2.1 million guineas as a youngster. And the one I just mentioned, Global Heat, costs 325,000. Let's show you that Walton Street form. I will do that in a minute. Let's hear from Stephen first.
I'm delighted to see a star of the turf here at Meydan. Olivier Pellier here. Great to see you here for a bit of a holiday.
Yeah, it's not like a holiday because I arrived last week in Saudi, and then I want to come back in France, but it's very tricky. So with the COVID, I don't know exactly what's happened. The First Minister will speak tonight, so I prefer to stay here 2 weeks and then back to Saudi. It's more safe.
You rode Gronkowski last week, if I'm right, and did he just need the run there?
Yes, I think he need also, but he's not like 100%, and he need maybe one race. He's 1 year he don't run, so then he's not fit, and I don't think he's ready for the Cup in Saudi. So maybe he take the chance. Maybe he's come back here, so he see what's happened, and just take a little bit of the few days and he see what's happened.
Okay, well, it's great to see you here. We'll let you enjoy the racing. Many thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Olivier.
Wow, Olivier Pellier's here. That's exciting. And just as well, he didn't try and get rides because it is so competitive. It's so difficult to get rides here, isn't it? You're suspended. I think Sandro Paver's suspended, but you like Maxime Guillon only got 3 rides. Frankie Dettori only got 2 rides. It's so hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very hard. And today the card is not full of horses as well, so everyone got stable jockeys. So it's really hard to pick up rides at the moment, especially during the carnival, you know.
Yeah, and I think your boss Masaba just got the 1 runner tonight.
Yeah, it's been very quiet tonight. Only 1 runners in the last, and Alfarek, which is a new horse from Sheikh Hamdan. Hopefully, he can run well for him. I think it's still a bit too early to see how good it is.
Yeah, he's got plenty of runners tomorrow though. Masaba, it's got 8. We'll get some thoughts from Antonio on those later on. But let's show you Dubai Future as promised. And this bit of form behind Walton Street, which really does tie a lot of these together. And Halimi and Desert Fire were also in here, but I can only really take one of these to win tonight, and that is Dubai Future. I mean, the winner's gone, hasn't he, at this point?
Yeah, he went quite quick also during the race because there was a good pace, and then he kicked on and he won very easy. That was a very good performance by Walton Street, and nobody could catch him at that time. But they all got the same form. They all finished like in 2-3 lengths, you know. Dubai Future finished second, and then Ispolini wasn't that far. Desert Fire, they're all there, you know. So it'll be an interesting race tonight over this distance.
Yeah, it will. It could well come down to which one sees it out best, although they'll probably crawl. Let's show you Global Heat again and that piece of form that we mentioned. And Stephen, this isn't the strongest form, is it? Miracle Maker, dual winner this season, but as I said to Antonio, wouldn't be doing too much in this company.
No,
he was the second.
There was plenty of what I've described deadwood in this race. There was a couple of horses that had run well, to be fair to them, at Abu Dhabi the time before, but this was a different level of form altogether. Global Heat was having just his 8th career outing. He was the progressive one. If there was one note of caution, it would be his head carriage. It was slightly high, slightly awkward, and if he's to be in the heat of a battle tonight, maybe that comes under question. But he is by Toronado, and he seemed to have a a slightly awkward head carriage, and it never really stopped him going from forward. So I'll not hold that against him just yet, but he's going the right way, but he's up against some established horses in there. But I do agree with Antonio, it is a bit like a sprint race with class, that you could run it 2 or 3 different times and you might get 2 or 3 different results depending on how they go, or the pace they go, where in the race the horses sit, etc. So I thought this was the trickiest race of the night.
Did you? I thought that was the first race and I managed to get that wrong. For all that I tip Ghostwatch, the more I look at it, the more I think this is Sabin Soror's race, with either Dubai Future or the one we just showed you, Global Heat. And this turf course, these staying races, tactically they can be interesting, can't they? They all seem to sort of bunch up, and it always seems to me like nobody particularly wants to go forward.
Yeah, you know, when you ride on long distance, especially on the grass, they always go slower, so everything goes by tactics, you know, and depends also how your horse can stay over this trip. But yeah, it's very interesting to see. They 6 Godolphin in it, so interesting who goes in front to make the pace as well, you know, and how fast they go, and to see also who can stay over. As I said before, the rail is out 12 meters, so it changed a lot.
Yeah. Who do you think will go forward, Stephen? Ispalini's done it in the past, of course.
Yeah, I think Communique might. I mean, I was a bit surprised to see them holding up last time, but that was maybe down to the fact he probably needed the run, so maybe they revert to more prominent tactics with him. Global Heat was prominent last time, and Moonlight Spirits tended to make the running, although hasn't stayed in front for too long in his races, certainly the last 3. So maybe one of those 3. I just went with the solid one, not very original, Dubai Future. He fared best in that Walton Street race, and will be suited by the step-up in trip tonight.
Well, they're nearly all in. 7 Godolphins. Will it be Blue that comes home in front?
They're on. They're set. Racing in the Maidan Cup, and a beautiful line away with Dubai Future poking up towards the front in the early part. Ghostwatch is going to surf across with it, and Global Heat with the yellow cap goes forward. Now Communique gets up on the inside. Alimi a little bit tight for room there. Chuane is just off them. Moonlight Spirit going up on the outside. Desert Fire is going to be trapped out wide, and Volcanic Sky very deep as they come down under the judges' tower. The Great Chuane and Communique just drop off the speed, and Ispalini's gone back to the rear as they go by the winning post. 26.16 was the lead, 400 metres. And over on the inside, Ghostwatch is going to be joined out wide by Volcanic Sky. He's going to try and come across the face of the field as they go by the Meydan Hotel. It is Ghostwatch over on the inside. Volcanic Sky might get to the breeze. That might be the best he can do. Moonlight Spirit in third around the outside of Dubai Future. Then came Global Heat as they raced to the back. Communique down on the inside of Desert Fire. Then came next of all Halimi. Over on the fence is Ispalini, and Chuane representing France is up on the outside 3 deep. They work into the back, and Ghostwatch is fairly keen against Buick. Shows the way as they begin the march down the back straight of Meydan. It is Ghostwatch out by a length and 3/4 now. Over Volcanic Sky in second. Over on the fence Dubai Future enjoying a lovely run. Moonlight Spirit outside of it. Then Communique, Global Heat, and Desert Fire is trapped out 3 wide. Then Ispalini, the Gold Cup runner-up from a couple of seasons ago. It's locked away on the inside of Alimi, and Chuane is over on the outside. So they run their way down the back, and this is well clear. Ghostwatch going very keenly. Is out by 2.5 lengths now over Volcanic Sky, and they're 3 lengths clear of Dubai Future, beginning to edge a little closer. Moonlight Spirit was next of all, then Communique. Global Heat still trapped out wide there. Desert Fire, Ispalini the inside. Then came Alimi, and back of the tail is Chuane. Down the side they come. Ghostwatch still full of running, out by 2 lengths over Volcanic Sky as they come down towards the final 800 metres. Over on the inside, Dubai Future. They were followed by Moonlight Spirit. Then came a Desert Fire, just edging a little closer around the outside of Communique, followed by Global Heat. Then Chuane, Ispalini, and Halimi between horses, but down to the bend they come. Ghostwatch is the leader, still by that length. Volcanic Sky is ambling up on the outside, travelling into it strongly off the fences. Dubai Future. They were followed by Communique, then Global Heat down the outside. Desert Fire begins to lengthen and run on. The front runner, Volcanic Sky, but out of the middle, Dubai Future is coming at it. Dubai Future with the red cap has gone by Volcanic Sky. Global Heat begins to finish on okay. Chuane is down the outside. Front runner, Dubai Future, trying to pick it back. On the inside is Volcanic Sky, but Dubai Future's got the upper hand for Frankie Dettori, and Dubai Future's going to cruise away for an easy win. Dubai Future, 2 lengths. Second, Volcanic Sky. Good run, Global Heat in third. They were followed after a gap. Then we got Ghost Watch and also Ispalini together. Chuane was next from Halimi. Behind them was Communique. Dropping well out of it late on was Moonlight Spirit. And Desert Fire didn't fire and is running at the rear after covering a bit of excess ground. Dubai Future given a peach by Frankie Dettori. Third on the inside, just allowed the speed to go and picked them off one by one. Only had two to get by, and has done that quite nicely. Very good run from Volcanic Sky. It was the horse that had to chase up behind Ghostwatch, who just got too keen in the front. And Global Heat backing up its strong winning performance last time, gets into third. Fourth is going to be tight. Ispalini has run on quite well, and Ghostwatch is there. Chuane wasn't too bad at its first run here, but Dubai Future has run a terrific race and gets the job done. And that's its second win here in the UAE, having won at its first time out last year. 2:54.9 is the winner's time. 2:54.9 is the winner's time, so that's not too far outside of the track record. 2:54.47, so less than half a second outside of the track record. Don't have too many 2,810 metre races, but nonetheless a good time, and I dare say that was set up by Ghostwatch. Free striding in the front. So 4, 8, 10 and 3 have been confirmed. So Ispalini gets into fourth, just ahead of Ghostwatch.
So it was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Godolphin, the German raider. Chuane just picking up a check for finishing sixth, but it was a good ride once again by Frankie Dettori. Antonio was in the right position all the way around, and the horse saw the trip out beautifully.
Yeah, as I said before, I mean, he ran really well when he finished second to Walton Street, and today Frankie gave him like a very good ride. He was not too close to the pace, not too far back, sit on the rail, and he just moved around when he really wanted to, and he just asked him to quicken up last furlong and a half, and the horse did it in a good style.
And Stephen, Dubai Future obviously has a future. I would have thought that the Nad Al Sheba Trophy will be in the immediate future. Yeah,
obvious race for him over the same course and distance. There's a bit of an atmosphere here tonight from the hospitality.
There's some people here tonight, which is very exciting. We can't quite work out, well, we can see where they are, but we're not quite sure which particular hospitality area they're in, but I'm sure they're socially distanced and all the rest of it. Anyway, nice to have a bit of atmosphere. And Antonio, as an Italian jockey, have you spent your entire life, when you tell people what you do, people saying, oh, like Frankie Dettori?
Yeah, that's the first name that comes up, to their mind always, because he's famous all over the world, He's a bit of a showman, and he likes to be himself all the time. And but as I say, everybody knows him, even outside of racing. Even people that they're not interested about racing, they know Frankie Dettori because he has been doing everything, even the Big Brother in England. So
yeah,
he's.
What about Big Brother? I miss his restaurant. That was a really good restaurant he used to have here in Dubai. Frankie is now on 182 winners in Dubai from just 773 rides, which is quite some statistic. He's the most successful jockey in Carnival history. And he's going to play up to this little crowd, who maybe they're Frankie's friends. That's not beyond the realms of possibility. He's got plenty on. I think we're going to see a flying dismount. That's what they've come to see. Now, he got that right again, Stephen. He so very rarely gets it wrong.
Yeah, the best jockey in the world, and you just sit second or third in a race that Ghostwatch probably made reasonably well run. Ghostwatch had a 2 or 3 length advantage for the first half of the race at least, but Frankie Dettori just eased off the rail at the right time. Volcanic Sky got first run, but he had plenty of horse underneath him, and extending a good career record for this horse. He's now 4 from 12 to go with 4 second placings. Still only a 5-year-old, seems to have been around for ages, but it was a good performance, and Frankie Dettori I think is 5 from 11 now at the Carnival this year.
Not a bad stat at all. And I bet you Saeed will be desperate to see how far this horse can go and try and turn him into a Cups horse, a proper 2-mile horse.
Yeah, without doubt. He's unexposed as a stayer even, so there's more to come. We know Dubawi's a late maturing sort. You can see there's a bit of a rush for the lead, but Frankie in the red cap, he's just got the perfect position on the rail. And you were mentioning the rail being out 12 metres. Does that make being on the rail is a good place when it's out that far, whereas in previous weeks we've perhaps seen you come down the centre more?
It is, but also you need to think that the straight will become slightly longer, so it doesn't really suit like front runners.
Okay.
Because as you can see, like many races on the grass, it's really hard to find a front runner winning a race, especially here in Meydan, and with the rail out, it will be even harder for them.
I have to say, I thought William Buick gave Ghostwatch a very confident ride. I thought he was going to win it for much of it, but they rather stacked up behind him. I was quite impressed with the run of Volcanic Sky in second. He's travelled beautifully, perhaps a little bit better than Pat Cosgrave might have liked there in the green cap. And then a few of these old boys that we thought might have had enough prior to this. Bellini's shown a bit, finishing fourth, but Moonlight Spirit really just does not seem particularly interested these days, and he's again run okay for a little bit in the orange cap and then sort of struggled out of it. But at this point, I think you sort of narrated the race right the way through, and I think you knew Frankie had it, didn't you?
Yeah, at this point, I love his position here because, as I say, there was a good gallop pace. They were going like a very good gallop, and Frankie's just on the rail, just waiting, with passion, and he's 2.5 lengths behind the pace, but he's not too far back. He's just always keeping something, and always keeping a spot where he can move around when he wants to. So that was just perfect, and the horse plus the horse was doing a very good race. He was traveling very well all the way around. So, and he had the best chance seeing his previous race as well.
It must be very hard to know, especially if you're in the lead, or even where Frankie is now. When do you ask for that kick? Because you don't know how well they're closing behind you, of course.
No, of course you don't see behind, but you feel how your horse is going at that point, But you can see Frankie's moving out like gently, and he's just like asking. He's riding him like very confident, and the horse quickened up really well last furlong.
Yeah,
I think he's still winning by 1.5, but he still got something, he still didn't give 100% the horse.
I'm not sure what's going to target the Group 2 Dubai City of Gold on Super Saturday, but Charlie Appleby told us after Walton Street 1 beating this horse that was the aim for that horse, and he's going to be very hard to catch. Dubai Future could well head there as well, of course, or as I mentioned earlier, probably the Nadal Shiba Trophy over this trip is a more likely run for him. Communiques on the rail in the light silks. He's still not back to his best, and I thought Chuain, the grey, the German horse, was going to come round them all and finish third in the end, but he's faded out of it, and I said just finished sixth. I'm not sure he quite got home. He's got decent form over a mile and a half, but I don't know if this just tested him a little bit too much. Maybe Miroslav Rulak can find something a bit shorter for him. But it's a day that belongs to Dubai Future, or a race that belongs to Dubai Future anyway. It's a nicely bred son of Dubawi out of a Street Cry mare. I'm surprised Saeed hasn't tried to put him on the dirt. He does that with a lot of his Dubawis with very good results. And say nicely bred, the dam of Dubai Future. And Jazz was a Group 3 winner herself. So like so many Godolphin horses, has got all the right names in his pedigree. And he's a homebred as well. And as Stephen says, nice and lightly raced, 3 from 11. It was actually Hector Crouch who rode him the last time, and Hector was our guest on the winning line and gave the horse quite a good talking up. So he was quite well supported in the market as well overnight, this horse, so not too many secrets from anyone, and we were right in thinking that Walton Street form was the key form. It looked like, no, I didn't see any hard luck stories. I don't think there'd be any bans or anything for this race. I don't think there was any bumping around.
No, it looks like pretty clear, not many runners, but everything was clear, so lucky for everyone, that everything went smooth.
Yeah, because it is such a wide turf course, but all the same, we do see quite a lot of interference on it because generally everyone congregates towards the rail.
Yeah, the rules are a bit different here from Europe, and most of the jockeys here are from Europe. Here the stewards are really fair. You know, you can't really move too much, so you have to give a chance to everyone. In Europe, sometimes, especially in England, you're allowed to give a little bump, you know, and nobody says anything. But here they're very strict, they're very fair, and that's how it should be actually. And at least everyone can keep the same line, you know, and everyone can ride their chance, you know.
Yeah, it's all about safety at the end of the day and keeping everyone out of trouble. I do think they do a good job, our stewards, I have to say. Sam Shinsky, Taylor Wilson and co. So big well done once again to Godolphin. They are making this carnival their own, as they have done with so many before, and this is their second win out of 2 runnings of the Maidan Cup. They won it last year with Secret Advisor, who Tygo Shea rode for Charlie Appleby. Saeed bin Saror now on 415 wins here in Dubai from 2,093-ish runners. And I wonder if Stephen's going to try and target Saeed for a little bit of a word. Interesting to find out what his Saudi plans are, apart from anything else, whether he's going to go over there with the filly Soft Whisper for the Saudi Derby. Incidentally, I've got a little bit of fallout from race number 1. Tamil was a bit disappointing, actually bled from both nostrils, is the steward's report from race 1, so a bit of a shame. I hope that Tamil is okay soon. He'll obviously have to have a bit of a break from racing and gallop in front of the stewards before he's allowed to take his chance again. So just a little bit of a fallout from that opening race. Before we move on, we can hear from the winning connections of our Dubai Cup, our Maidan Cup in fact. And I think I'm going to maybe hear from Saeed bin Saror in a moment or two. But before we do that, we can hear once again from jockey Maxime Guillon, and this time he reflects on some of the best horses that he's ridden so far.
Solo has pitched a break, and it is a winning break. The Dubai turf goes to France, and Solo walks it in. Solo first.
You've had some great success in Dubai, only 2 wins, but a Group 1 and a Group 2, it's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I don't ride too much in Dubai, so yes, I'm really happy to win a big race. I win with Solo, the Group 1, and I win for Pierre Brandt with L'amour de ma vie in the Group 2. No, it's a really good, I'm happy, yeah.
And going back to Solo, who's an amazing horse. He kind of, it seemed to me he came from nowhere. He was running in small races. All of a sudden, Group 1, Group 1, Group 1. Amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because, you know, before he went too long distance, so it's not really good for him. And when the trainer went more short, he's can be a crack, you know, a very big, very good horse. And yes, after he win the Group 1 in the UK, in Dubai, in France, it's amazing horse.
Is he one of the best you've ridden, the best you've ridden?
Yes, I think he's the best I ride in my life, for sure. He's very easy, you know. You can go in front, you can go cover, you can go behind in the middle. You can. He loved the run heavy. He love everything. So it's very easy to ride for a jockey.
Yeah, amazing horse. And when you say you don't normally come to Dubai for the winter, where do you normally spend your winters?
Yeah, normally I stay in France or I go to Hong Kong. Okay. Yes, I go to Hong Kong many times. But this winter I stay in France, and after I want to try in Dubai 20 days for try. Yes, it's a long time to go. I won't come in Dubai, but I never have a chance to come. So this time I say, okay, I try a little bit, yeah.
And just talk a little bit about your career highlights. Go back to that. You mentioned Solo, the best one you rode, but Lupe de Vega, pretty good as well.
Yes, exactly. It's my first jockey club. I was young at this time, so now it's crazy for me to win the jockey club early in my life. So yes, Lupe de Vega, I win the Poule d'Essai des Poulains also before the jockey club. Now it's a really good horse, but you know, with Solo I win 5 or 6 Group 1 in the same years, so it's crazy for me.
Joined by Saeed bin Suroor after the success of Dubai Future. Well done, Saeed. He looks a nice stayer. He's got plenty of potential still over this sort of trip.
He's a tough horse, always try hard. But Frankie, he gave him good ride. He was not switching all the way. Then in the end, last 2 furlongs, I thought he's going to win. The another 2 there, Global Heat, he won the non-carnival race. But this race also make him spot on for the 3rd race coming.
And Frankie Dettori, he's the best jockey because he puts the best horses in the right place, doesn't he?
Well, he's the best of the best, you know, and so far he's leading jockey here by 5 winners. He's with us for a long time, for years and years, since when the Delvin started. But we're happy to see him come back here and win races.
Yeah, we're all happy to see him. And 2 in the Maidan Classic Trial. They've both got very good chances on paper, haven't they?
Yeah, they're doing good. You know, they're right race, right trip. Then we're looking for a good run from them.
Many congratulations here. Good luck later on.
Thank you, sir.
As Saeed bin Suroor successful in Dubai with Dubai Future in our 2nd race, and a few chances to come later on. Our 3rd race isn't too far away. It's the first of the Group 3s, and we can show you the conditions for the UAE 2000 Guineas. We are due off in about 10 minutes' time at 7:40 for this. 1,600 metres on the dirt, and there are no non-runners. And the 6 are headed by Grand Dubai, one of a couple in there for Ali Rashid Al Rahi. He's the mount of Adre de Vries. 2 is Meshakal for Mikhail Barcelona, Salem Bin Gadea. 3 is Muhib, Ryan Curatolo rides. 4, Naval Crown, the sole Godolphin representative. Doug Watson was quite keen on Uncle Hamed, see how he gets on. And finally, Justorm, the mount of Maxime Guillon, the 2nd in the race for Ali Rashid Al Rahi.
Yeah, fascinating lineup for our UAE 2000 Guineas. Is it a match race between Naval Crown and Muhib? The bookies in the UK certainly seem to think so, but Meshakal is going to be no easy one to crack, I don't think, based on that good victory last time here. So let's have a look at them as they go around the parade ring, and we've got a couple in here for Ali Al Rahi as well, Grand Dubai and of course Justorm. And I'm looking forward to seeing as Justorm in particular gets on, because I think he's a sprinter. But anyway, this is Grand Dubai Antonio, who you will have seen quite a lot of. He won well, didn't he, over this trip in his maiden, but last time he was very disappointing.
Yeah, he ran well in the maiden. He actually beat me with Fire Group.
Yeah.
But that was his race, because he already ran a couple of times really well, and then his 3rd time was lucky, winning his maiden. Just disappointing last time, over 1900, you know, in the Bastakia trial, and actually Fire Group finished in front of him. But I didn't think the horse give his best run that day.
No, he was never really in the race at all on that occasion behind El Patriot. It was quite disappointing. This is Meshakal, who hosed up really last time, beating Rare Ninja in a reasonably good time in the Maiden Company over 1,400 metres. He has to go a bit further today. I think he's got every chance of doing so. Were you impressed with his win?
Yeah, he actually he ran really well. He did he went in front and he was travelling beautifully. And when he kicked in the straight, he just kept on going. He won very easy that day. So he probably improved as well, you know, and I would see him running well over a mile.
Yeah, I think so as well. And we heard from Salem earlier, he even thinks he might make into a Derby horse, in which case he's going to need to get 1,900 metres. Muhib really went down fighting behind Rebels Romance. It was a great run. He missed the break as well. He's drawn in 1 today. He needs to not miss the break, doesn't he?
Yeah, that was a very good performance in the trial, and today he's drawn really well. But you know, it's a very small field, so that will help him a lot. I think he has a very, very good chance.
Yeah, he does. His class act in here, certainly. Cost $400,000. There's a fair few in here that cost a lot. At one point, Meshakal cost 500,000 guineas. There's Doug Watson and Pat Dobbs, who combined with Uncle Hamed, and that's the Justorm team. Abshir Al-Harari, the owner. And those now pretty famous red and white silks. We only saw them for the first time this season, but they've done very, very well indeed. He also, of course, has horses with H&B. Does the owner there, Bashir? We'll see if we can see Naval Crown, because that's the back of Ryan Curatolo. Big day for him, really, with Muhi. It'd be a big win, wouldn't it, for the yard if they can manage this?
Yeah, this year they're going really well. They're having a great season, and Ryan is helping them a lot. He's doing well. He's having plenty of winners. Nicholas is doing a great job as well. This horse actually, he can actually win the Guineas tonight, and give a very good winner for Jebel Ali stable.
It'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? They won it with Market Rally a few years ago, of course. Well, one you just saw was Uncle Hamid, who does put the visor on, which is interesting. He ran on quite nicely behind Hurry Up, who Salem could have run here, decided not to. And I think Uncle Hamid at around about 18-1 is a interesting each-way investment in this race, for one that I think really will get the trip, for all that he's taking a big step up today from 1200 up to the mile. This is Juice Storm. Now, his first 2 wins were very good, but I just don't think he's a miler.
Yeah, me too. I can't really see him running well over a mile. He ran really well at the beginning of the season. Then last time in the trial, you could see that he didn't really stay at the end. Last furlong he just faded. But today same story. Only 6 runners in the race. Maybe he can take it easy, and finishing. But still, I think it's a bit hard for him tonight.
He even looks like a sprinter the way he's on his toes, or was a second ago in the parade ring. I think Maxime, who you heard in that interview, said we just have to see how he breaks and how things go in the race as to what the tactics are. But I think Justor might just decide on his own tactics, and that will be go forward. And not a lot you can do about it. If you're the best jockey in the world and a horse wants to go forward, you have to kind of let him go, don't you, to some extent?
Yeah, he's a very good jockey, and obviously the pace will be detected by Michael Barcelona or Maxime Guyon in this race.
Let's hear from Stephen.
Joined by Seth Benzel, assistant trainer at Jebel Ali Stables, of course saddling Mahib here. He looks a horse with plenty of ability. You confident of a good run today?
Yeah, he's the type of horse who's made it easy on us. I mean, ever since he came into the stable, he's really just kind of been a part of the, just been kind of silent and under the radar and just doing things very professionally. And I think you've seen the same thing on the racetrack. And he's continued on. He had a nice race here last time. It was a solid effort, obviously, against Godolphin, solid sophomore. And we're excited to see now him come back on this surface. It's a little bit smaller field. He's had the experience, and he's trained well. So, hopefully everything goes well for us.
I suppose the obvious concern, and you probably won't know until after the race, is how hard a race did he have last time?
Yeah, I mean, look, he got off slow a little bit last time. We're hoping for a better break this time to where he doesn't have to use so much of himself in the first part. And, look, these horses, they need racing too. So just the fact that he put in that kind of effort, we're hoping that he goes forward. So I'm not too concerned about that. And I think, Nicholas has done what he's had to do given the circumstances that he did have that hard race. And, again, it's all going to be just at the break and the trip, and hopefully he can take that last race and move forward.
Well, we wish you all the best. Great to see you here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks to Seth Benzel, who, when he's not helping Nicholas train horses, is a very, very good artist. Abstract stuff. It's fab. Check it out if you get the chance. Antonio's been having a good look at these in the parade ring, and Mahib is the one that stands out.
Yeah, if I have to give the best turnout, I will give it to him.
I'm not sure who did win the best turned out. We usually find out via the big screen. It really would be lovely for Nicholas Bachelard, who's had his own travails with not being allowed on course himself for a couple of weeks. So it'd be nice to see Sheikh Ahmed Silks win another classic here at Meydan. And they'll certainly shortly be emerging from this tunnel. I wonder if we can show you a couple of them in action. And the key bit of form would look to be the UAE 2000 Guineas Trial, in which Mahib finished a very battling second, as we've said, behind Rebels Romance, who Charlie Appleby seems to regard as one of his best 3-year-olds at the moment. Hence he misses this race, Rebels Romance, and goes straight to the Saudi Derby. And as Stephen pointed out there, Antonio, when he was interviewing Seth, they won't know. Mahib looked to have a hard race on that occasion, but they won't know how hard. You can't really tell necessarily until they get in a race just how tired he is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it was a hard race last time in the Guineas Trial, and but I still think the horse needed also to kind of break his mind, and get more confidence, get more like experience as well, But he fought hard at the end, and today it seems like not easy, but a little bit easier for him compared to last run.
Well, we thought it was going to be easy for him, and then Naval Crown turned up, Stephen, which I certainly wasn't expecting. And on his European form, he's very much the one to beat, and the bookies would have him as the one to beat.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we can get carried away with ratings, and young horses in particular can be a bit flattered by how high a mark they've been given. But in his case, 104 seems very solid. His 2 Group 3s in France have both worked out exceptionally well. Group 1 horses have emerged from those races. Normandy Bridge, who beat him last time, has been second in a Group 1. Sealaway, who was placed in one of those 2 races, has also gone on and won the Prix Jean-Luc Lagardère and was also 5th at the Breeders' Cup meeting. So it's, sometimes you expect to go over to France and maybe cherry pick a weak Group 3, weak Group 2, which Charlie Appleby's excellent at, but he probably bumped into a couple of decent races, and even then Naval Crown had the odd excuse. So he's definitely worthy of his mark of 104. It's just a case of whether he can run to it on dirt. He's quite a lengthy horse. He's quite a strong, powerful horse. So there's reason for him to obviously handle it, being by Dabawi as well. So, yeah, Mahib has definitely got his work cut out, and so too does Mashakal.
The Dan Zilli on the dam side would give me less hope about his aptitude for dirt. Mashakal wants to get a move on, doesn't he? He says, "Want to start now, please, Mikhail." This was really good performance. He was backing up very quickly from running second to Hurry Up at Jebel Ali just a few days before. I think if he does this again, he's going to go very, very close.
Yeah, when he finished second to Hurry Up won again the next time. So that was very good form. Probably felt better running in a flat course, And that was very good performance. Went in front, did everything right, and they just quickened up. Easy.
Yeah, it really was easy. And Stephen, did you ask Salim why he's not running Hurry Up? Did he volunteer that information?
He wasn't. He didn't say outright as to why. Just maybe seemed happier running just this horse. I don't really know what options there are for Hurry Up.
It's a vote of confidence in
exactly.
Mashakal.
Yeah. Hurry Up would obviously only have run over 1,200 at Jebel Ali, so it would have been a step up for him. I don't know if you said it already, but Mashakal's named after Salem's champion camel.
I left that for you, so now how proud you are of that bit of information. It's fantastic, isn't it?
And Mashakal's a big old thing. He's not too far off camel size himself, so maybe that's... that
would be a great feature. I wonder if we could race a horse against a camel. I'll leave that for another day. Let's have a look at the Guineas trial, because this probably is the key bit of form, and I felt sorry for Mahib, to be honest. But it was a wonderful bit of horsemanship by Mikhail here, wasn't it, by William on Rebels Romance. He just nursed the horse home, didn't he? And whereas Mahib, Ryan's thrown everything at him.
William, he knew the horse. He was very confident, and he never hit him when he understood that he was going to win. Even if he didn't panic. Even if he saw Ryan coming on his inside, he didn't panic. He just helped the horse just to pass the line, But that was very good ride.
Just don't see any way, looking at it, Stephen, that Juice Storm can reverse that.
No, I mean, he was wide that day, bigger field, smaller field today, potentially a less of a test of stamina, although I suspect Mikhail Barcelona and Mashakal will go out there and probably hassled to a degree by Juice Storm. I suppose there's the question of whether Juice Storm's good enough. His 2 early season wins, very reminiscent of sort of early season juveniles in England, really, aren't they? Making the most of precocity, but he does have a bit of size about him. Drawn better in stall 3 tonight, so I could see him certainly finishing closer to Mahib. Quite whether he's good enough and worthy of his rating of 90, or today will probably tell. But his owner was confident earlier that he will stay. And like I say, a more conservative ride in this smaller field probably will help him do so.
Sure, if a conservative ride is possible. I think the horse is fairly headstrong. There's Uncle Hamid, who's having a good look at the world through his now visored view of it. He's certainly looking alert, if that was the aim.
You don't see many horses gelded halfway through a season, do you?
I hate it personally.
He was turned out quickly.
Bizarre, but Doug's done it before with reasonable effect.
I think he did it, Cosmo Charlie.
Cosmo Charlie, yeah.
Certainly good horses. And he was confident about his chance. He certainly felt he definitely wasn't making up the numbers. He just felt he's lost concentration on the straight course at Jebel Ali and going round a bend with the visor on, and minus his wedding tackle will all help him. So, you know, he's the lowest rated horse in here, but he could finish in the first three, and then there's no each way betting for the first three with just the 6 runners. But I certainly think that he's capable of better than he's shown so far.
Yeah, me too. It was a complete flop, that run behind Muhib, funnily enough, at Jebel Ali. I think he was near favourite on that occasion, and then he bounced back with a very good run behind Hurry Up, who does sort of tie a couple of these in on form. Which one would you like to be riding if they said you can pick whichever one you want?
Probably Muhib.
Yeah, Muhib. And I was saying to Antonio earlier, this is quite a big opportunity for Ryan. You know, it's the first really big race he's ridden in here with a big chance.
Yeah, exactly. A good chance for Nicholas as well. What perhaps we have seen with his 2-year-olds / 3-year-olds so far is that they've been ready, very ready first time. This horse obviously improved on his debut, but 1 or 2 haven't. Nayefa, certainly in the 1,000 Guineas, she's tended to go the wrong way. Did have an impressive winner at the Hill a couple of weeks ago, Shamik, who's progressed as well. So maybe it isn't too much of a concern that this horse was very ready first time, and that maybe there will be a bit of a plateauing off. But yeah, it's a showcase horse. He costs plenty, so they'll be hoping that he can be up to putting up a bold show in this Group 3.
Charlie Appleby's won this race twice with Gold Town and Long John. Very different horses to this Naval Crown. Godolphin in total have won it 11 times. And there's Grand Dubai. He's one of the outsiders, and I think understandably so, for all that he's a bonny little horse for Ali Rashid Rai, who also owns him, so therefore can do whatever he likes. The Salem also owns Mashakal.
Yeah, it's slightly odd, isn't it? Mashakal was 500,000 guinea purchase out of Salem's mare, and yet Salem pays 500,000 guineas for it. I don't quite know how that works, but
must have really liked him.
Must have done. You can see why. I imagine Grand Dubai will run in the 1900 metre turf race next week.
I think he'll be kept pretty busy. As I said, Ali owns him and trains him. So Mahib goes forward into what should be a plum draw in 1. A Naval Crown is drawn in 4. He's gone forward as well. So only 3 or 4 more to load for the 2021 edition of the UAE 2000 Guineas.
Last year we had an international runner with Doug O'Neill and 4 left, winning for the USA. This time around, all local based trainers, with the exception of a Naval Crown for Charlie Appleby, but based here for the season, no doubt. Now, Joe Storm coming up, Mashakal about to go in, and we're almost set to go for the UAE 2000 Guineas. All set to go. They're ready now at the 1600 metres. Gates go back and they're off and racing away quickly. Mashakal out wide. Naval Crown bounced away quickly and Muhib through on the inside. Joe Storm just a little tight for room there. Dropped back to 4th from Grand Dubai, and Uncle Hamid went back to the rear. Mashakal, as they go through the dog leg, has got away by 2 lengths over Naval Crown into 2nd. Muhib over on the inside. Then Joe Storm a little keen against the rider. 2 lengths away to Uncle Hamid, and last of all is Grand Dubai as they lengthen and run down the back straight. Behind a leader 24.35, and Mashakal from Macau, Barcelona shows the way. A length and a quarter, Naval Crown to 2nd. 2 lengths away to Muhib, getting off the fence and into the clear out wide. Next of all is Joe Storm, a gap of 5 lengths then to Uncle Hamid, and Grand Dubai's at the rear. Mashakal trying to be given a breather here by Barcelona as they come down the side. Buick and Naval Crown move up to its flanks in 2nd. Next is Muhib, seemingly travelling quite well in 3rd, followed by Joe Storm, Grand Dubai and Uncle Hamid, but they come down to the top of the straight in the 2000 Guineas. Mashakal the one to run over. Naval Crown the outside. 3 lengths away to Muhib, now under pressure, followed by Joe Storm, but Mashakal will turn and scoot away. Into the straight they come. Mashakal out by 3 lengths over Naval Crown. Now Muhib begins to lengthen out of the middle and run on strongly. Mashakal over on the inside just in front, but Muhib coming strongly out of the middle. Muhib's after Mashakal, fighting hard. Mashakal down on the inside, and Muhib coming out in the late stages. Mashakal, Muhib, great finish in the Guineas. Muhib the outside, getting the upper hand and got there. The last bound for Muhib wins it ahead over Mashakal. A great race. A gap off to Naval Crown, followed by Grand Dubai, then Joe Storm and Uncle Hamid. Absolute classic race there. Mashakal seemingly looked the goods at the top of the straight. Muhib must have had 4 or 5 lengths to make up, maybe even more. But has really lengthened at the end and has cut down the tearaway leader Mashakal in the last few bounds, and will get up and score. Muhid for Ryan Curatolo and Nicolas Bachelard will take the 2,000 guineas and just get the better of Mashakal for Salamin Gadar and Macau Barcelona. And Noble Crown, first time on the dirt, running a good race for William Buick and Charlie Appleby. A neck will be the winning margin. Muhib, as start number 3, takes out the 2,000 guineas. And now an impressive record of 3 starts for 2 wins and a second. Winner's time there, 1:36.46. 1:36.46 was the winner's time. Very quick performance. Very quick time indeed, considering last year 4 left, clock 1:38.43.
Well, he needed to be a really good horse to catch them there, and he's proven that he's got plenty of tenacity once again, Mahib. And Ryan was clever. He didn't get drawn into the fast pace that's set by Mashakal, but it was a little bit nerve-wracking for a bit, Antonio, and I think you thought he was going to win by further than that at one point.
Yeah, you know, when he was like 3.5 out around the bend, I thought he was in control of the race, you know, but he kind of like hit the flat spot coming into the straight, you know. He looks like he wasn't going anywhere, and then he picks up again. It looks still a bit green to me, this horse, so be interesting to see like in the future as well, but that was a very good performance.
Yeah, huge for Jebel Ali Stables, as we mentioned. Nicolas Bachelard adds this to his previous Guineas win, which came in the 1,000 guineas when he was training in Saudi, and as we said before, big opportunity for Ryan Curatolo, and he's got it just right.
He has, yeah. Just looking at the head on, the horse just wanders a little bit on the big screen there, and perhaps not altogether, as Antonio said, just focusing entirely. I think give Mashakal plenty of credit. He's not stopped in front. You can safely say that he's seen things out fine. Whether 7.5 is maybe his optimum, given that he's quite sprint bred, but there the head on, you can see Naval Crown edges out, and Mahib just does the same, slightly wanders in as well, and Ryan switches his whip through just to try and keep him going, whereas Mashakal's gone straight as a die on the rail. But yeah, an air of inevitability inside the final furlong that he was going to wear him down, and I think he's taken a while to pull up as well. Yeah, not necessarily bred to stay too much further than the mile, but that will give them hope going forward to the Derby, you would presume.
Or the Saudi Derby.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's an option. He's won here, but I'd say that's 2 hard races he's now had in the space of 2 or 3 weeks. To stick another race on him in 2 weeks would be a tough ask. But look, you know, they're only 3-year-olds once, so you wouldn't sort of hold it against them if they did have a crack at it. But you know, we said at the time of Rebels Romance beating him that Rebels Romance would beat him again, so that would be in my back of my mind as well, and maybe they're just best trying to secure a few riches here.
Yeah, I would be inclined to agree, but it'll be up to Sheikh Ahmed, who I understand was, prior to this race, very keen to go on to Saudi with this horse, so I have to see what he decides to do. And a great run really by Mashakal. I thought they went quick enough, and when it got to the point of the race when he should have folded, he didn't. He kept on going really nicely.
Yeah, this horse has improved a lot since he's running in the flat course, you know, because Jebel Ali kind of like stop at the top of the hill, you know, but here in Meydan he's doing everything right, go to the front, travel well, and he picks up and he stays on, you know, so he looks like a nice horse. He can probably give more also, you know, in the future.
Yeah, Salem thought he might be a Derby horse. I don't see too much to put me off that at the moment. He certainly sees it out well. If they can, you know, maybe not have to lead, that will help. Naval Crown, any thoughts on that?
I mean, he had his chance. He was out the kick back, just couldn't quicken. I'd say that they probably won't persevere with him on dirt. I think they might find another turf race for him, maybe the Maidan Classic in 2 or 3 weeks' time, if indeed he does need a run. Another run here, and they'll go back to Europe, and he'll be probably a solid group horse back there. But it was a good run in third, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it was a run that will have them persevering on dirt.
No, I don't think so. Nice celebration from Ryan. He's absolutely delighted. That's his 10th winner here in the UAE from 110 rides. It's a pretty good statistic. Just under 10%. Even my poor maths can work that out. And Nicholas is allowed on course, as we said earlier, so that's good that he gets to celebrate his win along with Seth and the whole team. Yeah, exactly. Their first week back as well after a couple of weeks off the track. Of course, these colours have been carried to success in this race before with Market Rally, who we didn't see after. Let's hope this horse has a bit more longevity than that one. Oh, I hope so. That was desperate for connections, wasn't it? It was really, really unfortunate. He's now retired in Ireland, Market Rally, if anyone was interested. I say that. I feel he actually went to stud somewhere. Certainly retired from racing anyway. There's Mohammed Al-Shahi on the right, who's been a super racing manager locally for Sheikh Ahmed. He's brilliant. He's really hands-on and he's there in the mornings. I think he was one of the main reasons they appointed Ryan, and Ryan's been a good addition to the jockeys room. He's nice to have around, I guess.
Ryan?
Yeah.
Yes. No, he's a very nice guy. He's he's quiet and he's doing well, and he's very polite. So yes.
He's had a bit of bad luck with suspensions as well of late. He missed quite a lot of the season. Crucially, on this occasion, Mahib was away really nicely.
Yeah, he jumped off well. He travelled well behind the pace. He was in a perfect position. Didn't get much kickback. And like I say, last 3.5 furlong, he was just travelling the best.
Yeah, that didn't look particularly easy to negotiate then. Storm has done what we thought he might do, Stephen. He's been inclined to over-race, hasn't he? And then he struggled. He's pulled early, and from then on it didn't look fun. Yeah,
they've held on to him, and again, probably a race not very forthcoming in saying whether he stays this mile or not, and probably just an early season horse as well, but they'll go to more forceful tactics, I'm sure, with him last time. But in terms of how the race has panned out for Ryan, I'd suggest this is pretty much how he had it in his head, that horse has broken well. He's taken the lead off Mashakal. He's had to extricate himself around Naval Crown, but then, as we mentioned in the earlier dirt race, best challenge off the rail, which is what he's been able to do. I think these are 3 very nice horses. Mashakal's I'd say he's going to keep on improving. There was a neck between them tonight. If they were to meet over a mile again, there's every chance, if the track's riding quick, that Mashakal would hold on. So it looks a good crop of 3-year-old colts this year, doesn't it?
Yeah, they are a really good crop of 3-year-old colts this year. And I suppose the season gets slightly more interesting in that they do have the option of going to Saudi, so they don't all necessarily follow the 3-year-old programme right the way through. And I'm sure Stephen will try and get a word with Connections to see what their thoughts are. Anyway, very different styles, don't they, Ryan and Mikhail? Very different styles of riding.
Yeah. Every jockey it's nice to watch them and understand, what they do. Also depends. Ryan is a bit taller than Mikhail, so it's a different way to stay on the horse. But you can see, like, Mashakal is trying very hard.
Yeah, he
just
tried
like,
really hard.
Unlucky that Mohib made it on time,
Yeah, absolutely. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you think if he'd gone even faster, they might not have caught him, but if he'd gone a little bit slower, he'd have more energy.
Exactly. But also, you see, as we say before in the first race, the winner is coming like 3 wide. He didn't stay on the rail, so the track is playing fair. Is playing different this year, and so they come from behind. The front runner doesn't really do as they did in the previous season,
And it's difficult to know, really, how it's going to ride. You can't tell in the mornings, can you, how it will ride in the evenings? It's totally different.
Yeah, it's the morning is morning, and the race is the race, because the fraction, the pace is completely different, But Ryan did the right thing just to get a lead from Mashakal and Naval Crown, and then he just skip away when he could.
Yeah, looking at the race, it was always likely that Mashakal was going to be the one that went forward. He missed the break last time and still managed to get to the lead when he won his maiden. So he was going to likely be the pace, and Naval Crown had led on his last 2 starts, and indeed when he won at York. So there was always going to be plenty of pace on in here. And Mahib, I think, relatively tractable horse, was one that just able to slot him behind. I think that's ultimately helped him win the race, the fact that he was able to get that really nice position. The Uncle Hamid, a bit of hope that Doug Watson offered hasn't really come off. I definitely think the horse is capable of winning a maiden in a couple of races, but not quite up to this level, Uncle Hamid. All about Mahib, who's a son of Flatter, and his dam, Shahani's Song, was actually a stakes winner over in the States. She's a 6-furlong winner. And Mahib himself is a brother to a Grade 2 winner called Favourable Outcome. So got a really nice pedigree, which is presumably why he cost $400,000 over in the States, or I believe Nicholas picked him out himself. So good job done by the master of Jebel Ali Stables right from the start with Mahib, a 2,000 guineas winner of 2021. 21. We've only got 3 more races to come here from Maidan, but it could well be the best is yet to come with the Firebreak Stakes up next. And the leading contender for it is Matterhorn.
No one in the racing world can have any regrets over what has or hasn't happened over the last 12 months. It simply doesn't matter in the wider scheme of things. But for Salem Bin Ghideia, there must be a tinge of regret that the World Cup didn't take place, as he was responsible for one of the leading contenders in Matterhorn. He has the profile of so many before him to have walked into Fazza stables, battle-hardened in the nursery grounds of Mark Johnston, with Bin Ghideia keen to stress the role the Midland Maestro plays in development of horses such as Matterhorn.
Always, just the horses I get from Mark, and we still in touch with him, with Charlie. I mean, I believe that we are in the same team, just for me as a trainer, like I could see Mark Johnson, one of my teacher, just he's a really master trainer, super trainer, so I go back to him and a lot of things, and I learn a lot of things from him. So what I could say, like big thanks to Mark and his team.
A serial winner for Johnston with consistency to boot, Matterhorn had a race record in England of 20 runs for 8 wins and 5 placings, the last of those victories coming in listed company at Windsor in June 2019. Rated 115 at his peak, Matterhorn had probably done all he could in the UK, hence the switch, and already it looks a very good move, with the now 6-year-old having settled into Dubai life very quickly. His first start for Bin Ghideia came in the Firebreak Stakes, where he finished 3rd to Capizano, before proving his worth on dirt with a facile success in round 3 of the Maktoum Challenge.
But it's Matterhorn off the leash inside the final 100 metres. It's getting a little bit weary, but it won't matter. Military Law is closing in the late stages with mark of approval, but Matterhorn's going to win easily. Matterhorn wins by 5 lengths.
So a heavier Matterhorn, 25 kilos according to Bin Ghideia, returns in the same race as he did 12 months ago. And once again it looks to be a stepping stone, but Bin Ghideia is happy just to get him back on track.
He's in a top form. Good health, ready to go. I think the main goal for him at the moment, the Saudi Cup. So he's gonna have 1 race here before Saudi Cup. So last year we start over a mile with him before Maktoum Challenge. So I think we're gonna do the same tactics. So maybe just we'll give him a mile race here before Saudi Cup. But the horse in top form. Start to settle, this season even he's more relaxed than last season. We start with him from beginning this season, so I think this is even we could give us more credit.
It probably doesn't matter should he win, lose or draw this Thursday. What matters is that Matterhorn is back with a chance to show what could have been 12 months ago was very much a realistic proposition. I'm joined by Ryan Kiritola after the victory of Mihi. First success at Meydan, some way to do it for you.
Yeah, amazing to be here today, winning with that horse. And in that kind of race, I'm very pleased. Thanks for the connection to give me the chance. Thanks God we are today and everything's good at playing, And
looking at the race beforehand, was everything that panned out, was that how you thought it would?
No, things went differently, But actually, we had a chat with my agent, Steven, and he works out a bit differently, but as we play, So it was good.
Did you think you were always going to get there in the straight?
To be honest, I think so, yeah, because it's a long stretch. He changed the legs at the right time, and he put his head down, and he's really a fighter, He put his shirt on the track today, and he get there, so...
And obviously the UA Derby's over a bit further. Do you think he will stay further?
I think he can, he maintained the same pace. I think he will over time, I think he will.
Many congratulations, go enjoy it.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thanks. So you need to change program,
So our trophy presentation for the 2021 edition of the UAE 2000 Guineas, which has gone to Muhib. Congratulations to the whole team at Jebel Ali Stables. They had a few tough years. They've bounced back brilliantly now with a classic. Nicholas Bachelard, a fine trainer. We knew that. We knew that all along, but they have had a few things they've had to iron out. And I'm delighted for them that they've come back, because Sheikh Ahmed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, an incredibly popular owner. He gives a lot to racing locally, of course, with his Jebel Ali racecourse, where we all love to go on a Friday, and indeed where we'll be tomorrow for 2 listed races. And you never know, they could potentially have a winner there as well. Nicholas has that Raquez in tomorrow at Jebel Ali. And Ryan Carrera, as we mentioned, his first season here in the UAE, and it's been a very good one. He's already had a listed success prior to this on Boran in the National Day Cup, and now adds a Group 3. He's ridden winners all over the world, but not too many will mean more than this one.
First of the Group 3s done for the evening. The next one is our very next race, the Group 3 Firebreak Stakes, which is, of course, a pointer towards the Godolphin Mile on World Cup night. Fairly small field for this race. The full conditions as follows. It's sponsored by DP World UAE region, and just the 6 runners, as I say. First prize here of $78,000, total prize fund of $130,000. And they're headed by number 1, Hypothetical, one of 2 in the race for Salem Bingadea. This one, the Mount of Royston French. 2 is Kimber. Pat Dobbs rides for Doug Watson. Visored for the first time, Matterhorn off the track for 334 days. He'll be ridden by Michael Barcelona. 4 is Oasis Charm, a late entry into this race. Ryan Curitolo, unlikely to secure a double, you'd imagine, but if you're not in it, you certainly won't be winning it. 5 is Secret Ambition, Tygo Shea. And finally, Trancaferro, the Mount of Bernardo Pinheiro for Antonio Sintra. That completes the 6 for this Firebreak.
A really good edition of our Group 3 Firebreak Stakes then. But any of these have met before. And that is Oasis Charm, who, fair play to them, to be honest. He wasn't in the original entries. They reopened the race. They chucked him in, and he's not going to win it, to be honest, but they're going to pick up a lot of money if they finish 6th. $2,600, which will cover training fees for quite a few months. I wish him well. In fact, I hope he causes a shock of the day and finishes 3rd. Good luck to Team Oasis Charm, who is a son of Oasis Dream out of a Selkirk mare. May well hate this dirt, but we call them racehorses. It's wise to race them. Ryan Carrera, in fact, is on that one. He's going back out now. I think he's going down early by the looks of things. So that's pretty much all you'll see of Oasis Charm until they get to the start. He's trained by Mahmoud Hussain. His horses are yet to really fire this season for me. Good trainer, we know what he can do. But I say it'd be quite the surprise if he wins this. Hypothetical is the one we can see first. He's the son of Lupe de Vega, who we spoke about earlier with Maxime Guillon. I think I'm the only one who likes this horse in this race. He's a big old price. He's quite taken with his win over Alcamel, who you know Alcamel very well. Hypothetical beat him by 3.5 lengths. I thought it was a good win.
Yes, hypothetically, he beat me the other day with Alcamel, which Alcamel was running very good that night.
Yeah, it was a great run, I thought.
Last year he almost beat the track record over a mile when I won on him. He had not the very good start of the season. He ran a bit like not very good in the first couple of races, Alcamel, and then last time he was very good in the Jebel Ali Mile. Hypothetical, who runs there, just finished half lengths in front of Alcamel. He will stand a chance because he probably likes more running in the flat course. He probably will go in front because I remember that day I went in front with Alcamel, but he was always on my girth.
Yeah, he
trying
was.
to, he probably wanted to go in front. I just didn't let him, but he'll probably try to make the pace for Matterhorn. I would say so.
Your horse battled really well on that occasion, Alcamel, and Hypothetical saw to him quite well, but he is a big price, a bigger price than Kimber, in fact, who seems to be livened up by the visor. I don't think we normally see him jig-jogging before a race. He's a 3-time course and distance winner. Is Kimber. His career high thus far came when he beat Secret Ambition by a short head in what was a brilliant renewal of the Maktoum Challenge round 1 last year. He's actually 4-3 in 7 races against Secret Ambition. Kimber, this is Matterhorn. Looking at it in the wonderfully straightforward way that jockeys do, you think he's the one who's going to win?
Yeah. He beat Military Law last year, so he has to beat these horses today. He's a beautiful horse, still probably 80%, not 100% fit the way he looks, but I think he's still enough for this race.
And the fact he's drawn in 2 as well, we know he's one who will go forward. It all points to a good run from him. Although the yard have brought out Gronkowski in the past, and the horse hasn't been fully fit, and he's rather bombed out on seasonal debut, so you never know. Secret Ambition is fit, he's rock solid, he's been second in this race the last 2 years. Is he the next best, do you think?
Yes, also because he's drawn on the outside, but obviously it's a small field, drawn 6. I think he'll love to be outside of the kickback, so that's good for him, and he will sit close. He probably, Tag is a very good rider. He will try to chase Matterhorn all the way and try to challenge him in the straight,
I know that's Bernardo Pinheiro, not because he's wearing silks, but because it says so on his face mask. He rides TRANCAFERRO here because Wagner Leal, the regular jockey for Antonio Sintra, is suspended. And what a nice spare ride to pick up. This horse is a multiple Group 3 winner in Uruguay. He's probably not the best of the Sintra horses who is here at the moment, and he's also running over what is very much a minimum trip for him. He's won over as far as 2,500 metres back at home in South America, so he's probably going to struggle here, TRANCAFERRO. But they've continued to impress with how they look, these Uruguay horses. He'll be fit, and I'm sure he'll run as well as he can over, as I said, a trip that's probably too short for him. There's Nasser Ascar, you know well. He's quite the character, isn't he, Nasser?
Nasser is a great person. He's a great owner, He's actually one of the best now in UAE, He loves racing, he loves horses, he has a lot of passion, and he always enjoys coming racing, and it's always nice to have him around, He's a very nice guy.
He's fab, and his stats are amazing. He's had 35 winners from 294 runners. It's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, it's very good. It's, last year I think he had probably his best season, with so many winners and places. This year he didn't have so many at the moment, but hopefully, he got horses with Musaba, Almuiri, and Satish Simar and Ali Rai, and he's probably picking up some more winners now.
Yeah, he had, of course, group wins last year with Wafi, with Military Law. 8 of his wins have come with Secret Ambition, who's actually his first ever horse that he owned. And I think if it wasn't for Secret Ambition, maybe Nasser wouldn't have quite as many horses as he does here. He's been great for the game. It's getting practically raucous up above us. No idea what's going on up there as we take another look at Kimber, and Matterhorn is in behind him.
He seems a bit fresh as well. He looks amazing. He looks stronger. He looks...
Matterhorn?
Yes, yeah. Matterhorn, yes.
Yeah, he does. He does look really good. I think he can be very hard to beat. I think we've seen them all, because, as I said, Oasis Charm has gone down earlier. What's your view on Kimber? The Visor's an interesting move at this stage of his career.
Yeah, last time he wasn't going anywhere, and probably they want to change his mind, help him a bit to keep him concentrate and focus, That'd be interesting, but obviously Dog Watson knows what he's doing, and they probably tried them in the morning, and the horse responded well with it, and they're gonna try today. But I like Kimber. I like his drone because he looks like he always got his best when he's close to the rail.
Yeah, I think it gives him a bit of confidence. I'm not sure he's the most brave of horses, if that makes sense. Hypotheticals looking a lot calmer than stablemate Matterhorn, who's got very, very warm. He's got sweat literally dripping from him, which may be a concern for some. He's rated £4 clear of the rest of this field, Matterhorn. Mikhail Barcelona's got a good record in the race. He's won it twice, as has Salem bin Gidea. And looks like the pony's going to help out Kimber, as it often does with the ex-Americans. What's your view on the Uruguayan raider TRANCAFERRO? He looks up against it.
The form of South America is pretty different from here. but I can see that he's been running over further, much further. So that's a big ask. But the trainer, Tolusintra, is doing really well. So we have to see if there is not much pace. That wouldn't help him, because if they got too slow and then the sprinting like last 3 furlong, that won't help me. Won't help him.
No.
Because he's probably a stayer, so one pace, you know. And being 6 runners, it gets more tactical, you know.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky, particularly if Matterhorn does what he did in this race last year and misses the break. That could throw it a little bit more open. Capizano, his stablemate, was away and gone on that occasion. We don't have Capizano in here. Stephen's going to enlighten us on the party that we're all missing out on, seemingly.
Well,
it's nice to have a little bit of atmosphere here.
It is, yes. Not quite sure whether that's
should emphasise it is just very small groups of people, of course, in accordance with the rules.
Yeah.
Just sounds loud from where we are. Rather echoing. What's your view on the Bingadea horses? Matterhorn, we just said, has got quite warm.
I think he looks really, really ready to go here. He knows it's race day. He's certainly very much on his toes, and look, this isn't by any means his cut final, but just looking at him going around the paddock, it's almost like he is ready to go. You know,
Yeah.
he's certainly fired up and looking ready. Hypothetical, we know, is very fit. He's had the 2 starts. I was quite taken with Kimber. He's not a horse that I've always got right, but he looks really well in the parade ring, and I felt this was his cup final today, with the visor on, drawn in stall 1. He had the run under his belt. He's gone well second time out before. He's a very closely matched horse with Secret Ambition from many lines of form going back, and I just felt he didn't deserve to be double the price that Secret Ambition was. Okay, there's definitely an element that Kimber may not be as good as he was, but I think there were excuses for his 2 runs last year after he won, because he had such a hard race when winning, and presumably just needed his return behind Military Law when he was slowly away anyway. So definitely would be expecting a good run from Kimber. I thought the Uruguayan horse Trancaferro, he got very warm.
You can see him there,
yeah,
he's glistening with sweat.
So that would be a definite negative from him. And there's 2 types of getting warm for me with a horse. 1, it's just natural, and 2, they're getting on edge, and he seemed to be getting a bit on edge.
Hypothetical's behaving beautifully. This is the horse that was on the Derby Trail for a brief moment after hosing up on, I think it was his career debut at Chelmsford, and then things went rather wrong for him after that, but he bounced back no uncertain terms when beating, as Antonio said earlier, Alcamel here 2 starts ago. And I just think he didn't quite handle the hill in the Jebel Ali Mard. I thought it was an okay run, and we'll show you that race in a moment or two, because it's a Secret Ambition. I felt really sorry for him here, and Ty sort of touched on it on the winning line last night, and the horse was good enough to win, and Blown by Wind, who no one really expected, has showed a huge liking for the dirt since coming over here, and he was far too good for him really on this occasion. But both of these ran well, didn't they? Hypothetical and Secret Ambition, but Blown by Wind far too good.
Yeah, he was there on the rail, and you can see like he took a pull here. He's coming around, you know, and then still winning by 3 lengths. You know, he was just different class on that day. And but I really liked him on his first run on the dirt here, because he missed the break pretty bad. He was like tiled off, and then he ran on really well at the end to finish 3rd. You know, that day Hypothetical won and Alcamel was 2nd.
And that horse in 3rd there is Canvas, Stephen, so that form does look good.
I think it's a very good race. I think, as Antonio said, we should give Blown by Wind plenty of credit for him very quickly progressing into a very good horse.
He's now 110, so we need to give him plenty of credit.
He went up actually 15 pounds.
15 pounds
but there wasn't much fluke about it. Secret Ambition just ran into one. You can't crab him for all he's got plenty of placed efforts to his name. He just is finding one too good. But I definitely agree with you about Hypothetical and the track. He was drawn stall 12, and just going around the bend, he wasn't all that comfortable. Was, stuck wide. It can throw you even wider, and he was definitely a victim of that. So it's a big step up in grade for him here, but he was impressive when he won a handicap, beating Alcamel, and he should get a good toe into the race, assuming that Matterhorn's going to go forward as he did when he won Mac Toon Challenge Round 3 last time.
Which was a funny race, as Antonio says. And Military Law, I mean, I think you were pushing him the whole way. He just wasn't himself on that day at all, was he, your horse, when Matt beat you?
No. I felt that he was weird already going down to the stalls that day. He was just off, you know. It was probably his worst race from last season, you know, because every race he was doing it was like just traveling well behind the leaders and then just picking up. But that day, like, it was very different. Probably lost his form, you know, because he came from England. He had 4 tough races, and then the third round was like not on his day. But Matterhorn that day showed who really was, because he went in front, set up a very good pace, and still kick on in the straight and winning by 5, you know. That was a very good performance.
Yeah.
But I really liked him when he ran his first time on the Firebreaks last year, finishing 3rd. Then he showed some improvement, and obviously COVID came and
ruined everyone's March.
Yes.
And then the rest of the year, in fact, at the start of this year. We are very, very lucky to be racing the calibre that we are for this Firebreak Stakes over a mile. We often say it's a bit of a difficult trip, this, for jockeys and horses, and that you've got that, you can see there, that, as we call it, dog leg. Is it one of the more difficult distances to ride here?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of a tricky part, you know, especially when it's full of runners. You know, when there is a full field, it's more tricky. Obviously, 6 runners, it become easier. I expect more tactical race. Probably hypothetical will go in front, because, as I said before, he tried to get in front of Al Camel last time. So I guess today we'll try to make the pace for Matterhorn.
Yeah, that would not be a bad idea at all. And it might also mean, therefore, that Matterhorn can go a bit wider in what you've mentioned, Stephen, is the place to be off the rail, even though Matterhorn is actually drawn inside of hypothetical.
Yeah, I mean, it must be hard on the front runner to drift off it. When you round for home, the mentality of the jockeys is just to automatically go for the rail, and like, if you're on the best horse, there might be nothing in it. So we'll see how he goes in the straight. I mean, it does look it is actually a very good race, isn't it? If Matterhorn can run somewhere near his best, but if they do have the Saudi Cup in mind in 2 weeks' time, there has to be some sort of doubt. The difference, obviously, to last year is that he's now got dirt experience, which he didn't have when he ran in the Firebreak then. So, look, he's an odds-on favourite. I just felt he'd need the run. Looking at him in the parade ring, I wouldn't have that strong a view anymore that he will need the run. But for Kimber and Secret Ambition, it's a good opportunity to bag a Group 3.
It is indeed. Both of them already successful at Group 3 level, of course. Kimber even a Group 2. It is an interesting race. Where will it go? Our Firebreak Stakes is up next.
Nightcap comes up, and Secret Ambition second in this race the last 2 seasons. Is the final to go up for Tiger O'Shea. All set to go, Matterhorn, the short price favourite. Racing, they're off in the Firebreak. Oasis Charm dropped back at the rear as Matterhorn began well. Taken on by Secret Ambition, a hard written on the outside, but Matterhorn looks like it'll hold it. Kimber's over on the inside, no. Now Barcelona's going to hand up, and Secret Ambition will cross the fence and lead. Over Matterhorn, over on the inside, Kimber immediately off the rails. Next hypothetical, TRANCAFERRO's relatively handy and zooming around the outside. And last of all is Oasis Charm, as the speed really slackened off. 24.35 was the leader. Secret Ambition shows the way. TRANCAFERRO around the outside of Matterhorn. Kimber over on the inside, then Hypothetical. And last of all is Oasis Charm, but only 4 from the leader. Off the back, and Secret Ambition shows the way in the Firebreak. For Uruguay, TRANCAFERRO up on the outside. For Bernardo Pinheiro gets a little closer to it. They were followed by Kimber. Matterhorn's gone. Oh, something may have gone amiss with the champ. Matterhorn's dropped out sharply. Hypothetical begins to run on. Secret Ambition, the leader at the top of the straight over TRANCAFERRO. Kimber knuckling down over on the inside. Next of all is Hypothetical, but they turn for home, and Secret Ambition kicks away TRANCAFERRO. Kimber trying to finish off, followed by Hypothetical. Halfway up the straight now at the 270. Secret Ambition, the leader, still by 4-5 lengths over Kimber. Hypothetical down the outside, then TRANCAFERRO. Secret Ambition for Tiger O'Shea is well clear in the Firebreak. Hypothetical runs to second ahead of Kimber, but observing win for Secret Ambition. Finally gets its Firebreak victory. Wins by 3. Secret Ambition over Hypothetical, Kim Bear. Then came TRANCAFERRO, a gap away to Oasis Charm. And unfortunately, Matterhorn has gone amiss and failed to complete the course. Well, no one would begrudge Secret Ambition getting the victory here, second in this race the last 2 years, but a very sad sight with Matterhorn dropping out at around about the 800 metres mark and going back sharply through the field, and unfortunately has failed to run out the race. Secret Ambition for Tygo Shea and Satish Seemar takes the Firebreak. Hypothetical, tremendous run in second. Royston French and Salamin Gadaya, and Kim Bear for Pat Dobbs and Doug Watson will get third in the second of our Group 3s of the evening. But Tygo Shea, the current champion rider for the season, an 8-time champion rider here in the UAE, guides Secret Ambition to a very good victory over Hypothetical and Kim Bear. After the Firebreak Stakes, sponsored by DP World UAE region.
Third time lucky for Secret Ambition, and doesn't he just deserve a win in this race? Second in the last 2 years, as Craig said, and Tygo Shea had pretty much plain sailing once he turned from home, but no point getting away from what was a pretty horrible incident concerning Matterhorn. He looked like he broke down and then I think fell down. Unfortunately, I hope Mikel Barcelona is okay. We'll get you news on that as soon as we've got it. But for this horse, for Nasser, it's huge. It's a really big win for him.
Yeah, I'm really glad that he got a winner for Nasser, but that was a very smart move by Tygo Shea to go in front, to slow down the pace a little bit, and that was just very good. And unfortunately, I don't know what happened to Matterhorn, so he got also lucky in that point of view, but that was a very smart ride.
It was a good ride. Tyke knows this horse really well. He'd been an amazing horse, hasn't he, Stephen? He arrived here rated 70-odd, 9 wins, and a few group races later, here he is.
Yeah, it's, I think there's been times when they've considered gelding him as well, because he's maybe got a bit above himself as an end tyre, but they've resisted that temptation, and quite rightly so. And Tyke sort of kept that quiet on the winning line last night. Didn't necessarily reveal he was going to press on with him, but I suppose the horse hasn't always been great into stride, has he? So maybe that was dictated to him with the start that he made, but he soon got in front. Matterhorn, obviously, something went wrong. He was in trouble a long way out. Kim Bear, well, he's just been a little bit flat again. I think that's probably as good as he is now. He's a well-beaten third in the end, and Hypothetical stayed on to grab probably a bit of a hollow second. It's a hollow race full stop, really, given what's happened to Matterhorn, but you can't deny that Secret Ambition doesn't at least deserve to win another group race, and full credit to Tygo Shea for grasping the metal right from the start.
Yeah, the lead actually changed a couple of times in the opening stages, as we'll see when we look back at it. But this is huge for Zabeel. They didn't have the best start to the season. Their horses have been taking a run or two to get fit, including, I suppose, Secret Ambition. He was only second behind the Great Collection, who he is a better horse than, I'm convinced, when we saw him back in December in the Creek Mile. He's actually got quite a run of placings to his name of late at Secret Ambition. He never runs a bad race. If we look back at his form prior to tonight, it was 2-2-3, 2-2. One of those twos having come, as we said, against Capizano in this race last year. So Bhupat Seemar back on course, having missed last Saturday's meeting with a stomach upset. He'll be delighted, I've just told everybody. Good to have him back, and Satish as well. And Nasser's had a good couple of weeks, hasn't he?
Yeah, he had 2 group races.
So Group 2 and a Group 3, sorry.
2 group races in a couple of weeks. It's probably his 2 best horses, actually, because Military Law with Musaba and Secret Ambition with Satish Seemar. As you said, he's very consistent. He has been consistent like for 3 seasons now. He's improved a lot 3 seasons ago, and then he has kept his rating, his way to run in the same way for the last couple of seasons. But he's a very nice horse. He's getting old, but he's still giving plenty.
Yeah, he is. He's just an amazingly tough, genuine horse. And Stephen mentioned he's not the easiest to handle in the mornings. I don't think he'll take your arm off if you go anywhere near the box. He is still an end tyre, and I'm sure Nasser has plans to breed from him or to sell him for breeding in the future, which is great.
I was going to say he's related to a Group 1 winner as well.
Royal Marine,
so that adds extra value to him for all that Royal Marine hasn't necessarily gone on. He does have a Group 1 winner in his pedigree.
Yeah. Satish having a good season. He's a little bit off the pace when it comes to retaining his championship, possibly. As we said earlier on, it still is a fascinating race. That actually takes him to 19 wins now. So in joint third with Doug Watson. Yeah, with Doug Watson. So he's not too far off at all. Here's a look at the closing stages. We're not going to show you the whole race, I don't think, for obvious reasons. TRANCAFERRO's run a good race. Bernardo's done what Bernardo often does and taken an early forward position, or a forward position for much of the race.
As you mentioned, the early pace seemed to be a little bit stop-start, so he's taken the bold move. I think the horse has probably just been a bit too keen and just found it all a little bit too much today, but Connections have still picked up $6,500 for finishing fourth, so not a bad outlay. And Saeed Hashish as well for Oasis Charm. He never looked like getting out of last place, but to finish fifth, $3,900, so it's well worth it for essentially an exercise gallop that he would have had at home.
Apparently we are showing you the whole race. So the early point, that's Tig really riding about as hard as he can at this stage to get the lead. If it was his game plan, it's worked out nicely.
Yeah, he probably didn't want Matterhorn to go in front, you know. He wanted to give him some kickback and see how he responded, you know. But as I said before, that was a very smart move to take the front, you know, slow down the pace, take the rail, you know, and that was very good. Get some confidence to his horse, and being, as I said before, being like drawn wide. Draw number 6, you know, he helped him a lot because he's not probably the quickest out the stalls, but at least he managed to do that.
Yeah, it was certainly a canny ride. You'll see here the incident to Matterhorn, which personally I'd rather not see again, but drops out of it quickly and is obviously looked after to the best of his ability by Mikhail. And at this point, Hypothetical is doing his best running late, but Secret Ambition is the sort of horse that, had he got into a battle, he really would have boxed on. He does stay possibly a shade further than this mile. He gets the mile certainly very well up the hill at Jebel Ali. And he is not to be caught here. Hypothetical didn't really ever look like catching him, and indeed the winning margin is 3 3/4 lengths. Back to Hypothetical, and finishing third is Kimber. TRANCAFERRO 4, so a big space in the end, and this is just a lovely little horse. A real credit to his connections. Little horse, he's not little at all, actually, he's pretty big. A nice victory, say, even if it wasn't in the best of circumstances. He's just so honest. He's just such a game horse. I love him. He's one of my favourites. So happy to see him pick up another group win. So I think I said earlier it was a Group 2, just a Group 3, but they'll all matter a little bit more when it comes to him finally retiring to stud. Hopefully that's a few years off, yes. He's had such a lot of racing as well. It's another amazing thing. It's his 40th start tonight, Secret Ambition, for his 10th career win. Came from Mark Johnston in the UK and was one of the earliest horses to travel through the Racing in Dubai sale, when NASA picked him up pretty cheaply. And the rest is history, as they say. I love Exceed and Excel as a stallion. I think they're really versatile, and most of them seem to go on the dirt.
Yeah, they do. My favourite at the moment is Dubawi. I think.
Of course, they're amazing as well, aren't they?
Lately is actually absolutely the best, especially here in Dubai. But yes, Exceed and Excel, they actually adapt to the dirt really well, and they show speed as well, you know. But sometimes they have a very bad temper, you know, bad character.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. So this fella would be an example of that. He's not the cuddliest of horses, but you don't really need that in a racehorse, do you?
Yeah.
You want them to go out there and do their job and win a lot of money, and he's picked up $78,000 today for winning our Firebreak Stakes, the third attempt. Wonderful Secret Ambition. Great stuff, and we got a couple more races still to come here at Meydan, but we can give you a little bit of a break before we move on to our trophy presentation for this, and we can show you a horse whose days on the track are over, but that still means he's got plenty of life left. Not every ex-racehorse which we come to film has been a star on the track. Haroob here was a winner. He was successful twice at Lingfield in the UK, but due to injury, he never was able to start here in the UAE. Thankfully, his owner, His Highness Sheikh Ahmed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, made sure that he got a new home, and now he has a wonderful new life with owner Jen here at the Elite Rangers Equestrian Club.
But it's still Seashack from Haroob. Battered is staying on the black cap, going for the rail run, but it's still Seashack in front. Here's Haroob near side. Haroob is getting up late. Haroob got up to beat Seashack.
I was leasing a horse here in Elite Rangers, and a friend of mine, Debbie Armley, she contacted me to say that Nicholas Bacalard had some horses that couldn't race anymore, or wouldn't race anymore, and would I be interested? And I'm Irish and I've ridden a lot at home, and I always evented, and I said I'd come to Dubai for a few years, and the plan was not to leave with a horse, but now it seems that's what's happening. But yeah, so I met Nicholas and he showed me Ruby, and yeah, here we are 3 months later. He did have an injury when he was racing, and that's why he stopped. But he went to Dubai Equine Hospital and was fully scanned there by the great vets, who gave me a great report and good feedback on what he can do and how to take the approach into training, what approach to take into training, and yeah, so far so good. So I've ridden X-race horses before. Being Irish, we have plenty of them at home, but I'd never taken one off the track, and I'd never retrained one myself. So this is a new project for me, which is exciting. I've worked with a lot of young horses, a lot of dressage and eventing, so I've done a lot of schooling work, just not from the racehorse, not from the racetrack. He started work in January. As I said, he's here about 2 months, but for the first month or so, I just did a lot of groundwork, letting him in and out of the paddock, letting him calm down and not going as fast as possible in every direction. So he's only in work since the start of the month, and he's going really well. He's taken to it well. He's taken to the new style of riding and to the more relaxed lifestyle. He's taken well, yeah. So the plan is ultimately that he will do some dressage and show jumping over here. And then if he comes back to Ireland, or when he comes back to Ireland with me, we'll see if we can get him out eventing. I think the biggest challenge is that usually when you're working or training a young horse, they don't have the strength. So you're teaching them everything at the one time, but he does have the strength, he just doesn't have the knowledge. So it's a little bit more challenging in that sense, because he can say no. Yeah. Whereas young horses don't always have the balance or the strength. They take your guidance a bit better. But no, he's going well. He likes to be ridden, which is great. Likes to be hacked, and he's calmed down a lot since he arrived, which has made everything so much easier. We have a lot of hacking around here, and we have an open desert, which we haven't ventured to yet, because he's only in work since the start of the month, and I don't want him to have the opportunity to go flat out with no control just yet. But otherwise, he's taken to it well, yeah. And Osama here, he has several X-race horses himself, so I'm getting a lot of guidance from him, which is really helpful. And the grooms are very familiar with dealing with X-race horses and dealing with this type of retraining, so that's always helpful as well. I call him Ruby in his stable, just for short, yeah. But his name is Haroob. He's definitely still got a bit of a baby. As you can see, he chews everything, but he'll also do anything for a carrot, so that's good. Yeah, he definitely has enough energy to keep going for another while.
Just seen Tiger O'Shea win aboard Secret Ambition, the Firebreak Stakes. It's a great ride, Tiger. You kind of kept those tactics a bit quiet, but I guess the horse at the start dictated what you did. Is that right?
Yeah, look, listen, obviously you have to keep a little bit in the locker. Matterhorn looked like he was possibly going to make the running. Unfortunately, something's badly gone wrong with him. Kim Bear, I was worried from stall one with the headgear on, he could make the running. But with this horse, if he hits the gates, I don't tend to take him back. And look, he's danced every dance. He deserves a big day, and he got it again tonight, thankfully. And he's been Mr. Nasser's first horse, and he's been a very good horse for him, and he's rock solid.
He certainly is, and as you say, thoroughly deserved that win. Was there any sort of doubt in your mind that he'd lost the know-how to win almost?
Yeah, look, people have actually called him an early horse and that, but he's ran in top company all the time, and I was a bit shocked he got beat at Jebel Ali, to be honest with you. I thought that was his race to lose, and I was shocked when he won. Then when I seen Canvas winning tonight earlier on, my only concern then was obviously Matterhorn, and that the race didn't come too quick. But thankfully it all worked out, and great for his owner, Mr. Nasser, and Satish and Booper are doing a great job with him.
The day working out well for you with Dream today, getting in the last. Needs to improve on that last run, but he goes well here, doesn't he?
Yeah, he goes well here. He runs well. Obviously, we've been saddened by the news there tonight. Mr. Pat Buckley, great stalwart of the ERA racing, has sadly passed away. So that's very, very sad, and our condolences. I speak for not only me, but for the whole weighing room and the racing community. You know, Pat has been a treasured person for the ERA racing, and he's going to be sadly missed. So condolences to all the Buckley family.
We echo those sentiments. An Irish winner in the last would be fitting. Thanks for your time, Ty.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, it's an incredibly sad day for racing here in the UAE. Pat Buckley was loved by many of us. He was an amazing man. He set up racing in Oman, helped establish racing here in the UAE. He was a steward, he was a trainer, he was the linchpin of Abu Dhabi racecourse, and it really is incredibly sad. And the jockeys will be wearing black armbands, I understand, in our final couple of races today in memory of Pat, out of respect to Pat. And huge thoughts, condolences go out to Sarah, Kevin, and all of Pat's family. It really is such a sad day. Don't really know what else to say, to be honest. It overshadows all the racing we're having here this evening. He was such a huge figure here, and very famous, of course, for winning the Grand National, which is not an accolade many people can brag of, and he will be very, very fondly remembered by all who were lucky enough to know him. So sorry we have to bring you such sad news, but Pat Buckley, very well remembered and loved by the whole racing community here in the UAE. Tremendous man indeed. Mikel Barcelona is okay. Thankfully, that was an awful incident. Looks like he might have a slightly tender right wrist, and he's going to be looked over by the doctor before allowed to ride later on. But that is a relief, certainly, to see that Mikel is okay. Let's hear from Stephen.
Thankfully, all okay with Mikel Barcelona there after that horrible incident with Matterhorn in our fourth race. He doesn't have a ride in the Maidan Classic Trial, which is upcoming at 8:50, our penultimate race on today's card. We're turf all the way from now on, and the conditions for this race are as follows. We're off at 8:50 for the Jebel Ali Port Maidan Classic Trial, 1,400 metres on the turf for these 3-year-olds, and a prize fund of $50,000. Rashid Borsi's got 2 in here, with Ajmal number 1 for Adre de Vries. Break from stall 2. Barbara of Seville is the mount of Tygo Shea and is blinkered for the first time. We've then got Chosen Mark for Andrea Adzini. Howard Bilardi for Bruce Veron's usually been on the first pick for Rashid in recent weeks. No reason to assume different here. Number 5 is Nibras Passion for Ishmael Mohammed. Bernardo Pinheiro rides. Topper Bill will be the mount of Richard Mullen. Satish Seemar in search of a double, as indeed is Saeed bin Saror, who saddles the bottom 2 there. Both fillies, First Smile, cheek pieces for the first time, and Last Sunset. They'll both receive 2 kilos from the boys.
We don't have a full field for this Maidan Classic Trial. We know we're a little bit down on numbers. It could be one that goes to Godolphin again. They do have a couple of very strong chances there, as Stephen mentioned, with First Smile and Last Sunset. It's still a strong edition, even though we don't have the numbers. This race was won last year by Bella Fever, trained by Mike de Kock. It was, in fact, Mike's only winner of the carnival last year. Wouldn't be the biggest of surprises was to go to Rashid Borsley, who's having an absolutely superb season. A couple of lively outsiders in here, I think, in Ajmal, and more pertinently, Hawal Bilardi, who certainly has impressed me in his couple of starts so far. Shaped quite nicely on this turf course in the past. But it's a race with plenty of depth to it. Topper Bill, so scrappy last time in beating First Smile. Nibras Passion impressed all of us at Abu Dhabi, a really big horse, and won his maiden very nicely. Stephen's alongside me, and it's been a bit of a blow to all of us racing here. The news just broke about Pat Buckley, and better news, Mikel Barcelona is okay, but a bit of a emotional 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, well, Pat's was loved by everyone over here and the whole of the Gulf, really. Helped set up racing jurisdiction in Oman, and plenty of other excellent work that people wouldn't know about. And very, very sad day. Then, as you mentioned there, Mikel, thankfully all right. Probably any jockey that has a fall, just a bit shaken, but we'll see if he can hopefully ride. Has he got a ride in the last? Yeah, he's got Vale of Kent for the same connection, so hopefully he'll be all right to ride that. But it's a It's a bit of a funny and unfortunately very sad day here.
It really is sad. We'll all miss Pat tremendously, and Abu Dhabi on Sunday will be a pretty sombre place. So, a little bit lost for words, to be honest. It's personally devastating news. But we move on, or we try to, and the horses come out for our penultimate race, the Maidan Classic Trial. Ajmal's a really big colt by Shanghai Bobby, as is Hawa Beladi. And not surprisingly, Rashid Borsley, big fan of that sire, because his current best horse, Shanghai City, is by him, and indeed probably start as favourite for the Jebel Ali Sprint tomorrow. And this is Ajmal, who is out of a mare who won on dirt and turf, suggesting that switching onto turf wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. And OK, he's been beaten quite a long way on both of his starts so far, but as I said, he's so big, he might just still be getting the hang of things. He might still be growing into that frame. He's actually a brother to Shanghai Schwartz, who came over here with Touch God Racing. I don't think actually ran for them in the end. He's a winner in the States. I don't think he's going to win this for a million years, but he might show up OK. He's certainly capable of winning a maiden, and I guess Rashid will find out today whether that maiden is likely to be on dirt or turf. Tries this trip for the first time as well today, Ajmal. The key bit of form in this race comes from the race which Topper Bill won last time, and Barbara Seville was behind him. See there that the black armbands we mentioned jockeys will be wearing. A bit of news on Mikhail Barcelona. He's been stood down for the rest of the meeting. So Stephen mentioned he's going to miss Vale of Kent. So not the biggest hardship, but good news that Mikhail probably just a bit shaken up and be able to ride later on in the weekend. This is Barbara Seville, who's cost a fair bit of money, $440,000 at the September sale. Tiger Shea on the winning line last night felt that going around a bend would help him. That's Bernardo Pinheiro, who rides Nebras Passion here. Black armband very visible on the Borsley Silks. Adri de Vries there. This is Chosen Mark. Antonio's back with me. This fellow, I think, is going to be happier back on turf. He actually runs on turf for the first time, Chosen Mark. He's not completely out of it, I don't think. Went on the all-weather in England.
Yeah, but to be honest, I don't think he's a dirt horse. He's not showing anything on the dirt.
Surf today, so
yeah, damn right. Out of Invincible Spirit. Usually they don't give like dirt horses. Be interesting to see by the booking also of Andrea Zeni.
Very good jockey booking, isn't it?
Yeah. So the stable is in very good form. Switching on the grass would be the right move, you know.
Yeah, you're right. He's not shown anything at all on the dirt, and they persevered with him on it. This turf will suit him. Hawa Beladi, he's my sort of lively outsider of the day, really. Well, 16 to 1's not a huge price. I thought he'd run two really good races behind Hurry Up and Topper Bill. That was on debut. It's a pretty tough debut. He ran on quite nicely. So maybe this extra distance will suit him. His dam was a winner over a mile. And as I mentioned earlier, he's by Shanghai Bobby. It's quite a big contingent of people there. Looks like Mohamed Mardoud on the right. Nebras Passion, I liked when he won at Abu Dhabi. I thought that was a good performance. He was taking on his elders there. It was only a maiden, but he did it well.
Nebras Passion he showed like a very good turn of foot in Abu Dhabi against older horses. I know he was only carrying 53 kilos that day, but still he just became like 3 years old, and against the older horses is always very tough. But he seems like a nice horse. Today 7 furlong on the grass here. It's looking very, very good. He's a little bit on his toes, but he's looking great in his coat and everything. I think he will stand a big chance tonight.
Topper Bill went up £18 for beating First Smile by a length. Topper Bill was only rated 68. He goes off 86 today. Doesn't really matter because they're off level weights in this race apart from the fillies. It was just a really tough, scrappy performance. He's a nice, likeable horse. That said, I still don't think he'll win this. He was out there in the lead for a long time. He's won over this trip back in the UK at Catterick, but nevertheless, I think he'll find a few too strong. And this is First Smile, and I really felt sorry for Pat Cosgrave last time because she just sort of stopped on him, didn't she?
Yeah, he quickened up really well, and he passed Topper Bill by a couple of lengths, and then the filly just like stopped really quick just before the line, and Topper Bill fought really hard to come back and to get the lead back, and to win the race. I'm pretty sure Topper Bill will stay better over 7. I think it's his right trip. Be interesting to see against First Smile again, to see what happened today. First Smile's drawn 8, Topper Bill drawn 3. It looks pretty quick out the stalls, Topper Bill. So it's an interesting race.
It is an interesting race, whether he will be able to confirm placings with First Smile or whether indeed Last Sunset beats a lot of them. She is the favourite, and that was a very good run last time behind Soft Whisper on dirt in the Fillies Classic Trial, or the Guineas Trial. Back on turf will suit her. She's a winner on it. No, she's not. She was second on it, sorry. Her win came on the all-weather. Got the hood on. That will come off as they get to the start. And she's a nicely bred filly, daughter of Teofilo, out of a mare called Dufay, who won over this trip in France. She's a pretty warm favourite Last Sunset, and I can understand why. It was a run last time that was full of promise. Back on turf will suit her. She ticks a lot of boxes. Harry Bentley riding. I don't think Frankie Dettori does 55 very often, ever. A bit light for Frankie now.
He can do. Maybe just probably, I don't know.
Let someone else have a chance. Why not? And in this case, Harry Bentley, and Pat Cosgrove rides First Smile, as we mentioned, as he did last time. There she is. I think Pat maybe felt that she just saw something, something put her off the screen. I don't know. There's loads of things that can put them off in the straight here if they haven't been here before. Indeed, it was her local debut. My theory is that she just didn't stay because she by Dark Angel, who was a superb sprinter out of Jealous Again, who's a very fast 5 furlong filly. She won the Group 2 Queen Mary at Royal Ascot. And First Smile's half-sister is Skeptical, who's, again, a proper sprinter. So that's my theory on it. Last Sunset's obviously a little bit quirky, hence the hood. Does Masaba use these hoods very often?
The hood?
Yeah, don't associate him with the red hood that comes off at the start.
Well, no, he never use hood or air plugs to go to the starts, We don't use the hood very often, even like in the race, only with Dignity Joy.
Zainholm, or does he have blinkers these days?
No, Zainholm is wearing visors or blinkers. But the hood, I think, as far as I remember, is only Dignity Joy is wearing it.
I'll try and remember that. If Masaba ever puts one on one, it might be worthy of note. There's that is Chosen Mark, who I say is an interesting enough horse just because of the fact that he's bred for turf and he's finally racing on it for the first time. Last Lion, a little bit like Dark Angel, one of those horses that was a good 2-year-old and was retired at 2. He's his sire. This is Topper Bill. It surprised everyone, really, including Satish Seemar when he won last time. But there's plenty of credit for the way he just kept on going for Richie Mullen. So whether he can confirm that, I'm not sure. We'll show you the bit of form, get Stephen's thoughts on it. This was the Dubai Trophy. Pat Cosgrove feels maybe she saw something First Smile. I think she just didn't stay. Either way, does he try and ride her differently?
I think he probably will hold on to her for longer, for sure. The cheek pieces suggest that she was looking around, and look, the jockeys know best. But like you, just as an outsider looking in, she just didn't look to get home. And even the third horse that Antonio rode was gaining ground on her at the end. You see the Rashid Borsley horse at the back there. I was trying to get a word with Abu Bakr, Rashid Borsley's assistant, but unfortunately he was just a bit too nervous. Both these horses by Shanghai Bobby, they both look amazing. They're maybe a bit weak for this, but I think they'll be, both of them, Howard Baladi and Ajmal, will be winning races down the line. So good luck to Rashid Borsley. It's probably been a while since we've seen him competitive at the Carnival, but and maybe, like I say, it's going to be too soon for these two, but I think they've definitely got ability.
Did you think it was a good race, the Topper Bill race?
I think was a nice race, actually, because Topper Bill showed the pace. I sat second that day with Dignity Joy. It was a good pace in the race, and First Mile picked up really quick on the stand side rail, and she just stopped, like I say, in the last 50 yards probably, and Topper Bill fought hard to come back to win the race. And even my horse, Dignity Joy, he came back last 100 yards like to grab the third position, you know. But I believe like our horse Dignity Joy that finished there is improved a lot since he switched on the grass. So I think it was quite a nice race.
And this, I think, was the strongest maiden we've had so far this season. Discovery Island, the horse in second, is very well regarded by Zabeel and runs tomorrow. And Nebras Passion has given them all a hiding. The weight, Antonio pointed out earlier, Stephen, he obviously was only carrying 53 kilos. And the other thing that bothers me is that Abu Dhabi form hardly ever translates to here. But visually, that was very good.
Yeah, it's a big weight differential that he had that day, and got a beautiful run round. Again, he's a well-developed horse. So he would have been almost a 4-year-old against those 4-year-olds physically that day. So obviously the weight was most definitely a help. But he's plenty of ability. You know, ran in some good maidens, got some good novice events in the UK. He's related to a couple of horses rated in the hundreds. So no surprise if he ranks higher here. But yeah, just that question mark about Abu Dhabi form coming here.
Do you find that Abu Dhabi is just such a different track to here that even if they outrun there, they might not get the same trip round here?
Yes, absolutely. I think, you know, many horses that perform well in Abu Dhabi, they don't repeat the same in Meydan. You know, Abu Dhabi's right-handed, Meydan left-handed is already a big difference, you know, and plus Meydan is a much bigger place to be, you know, also for a horse. I think he has many things like to look in compared to Abu Dhabi, which is more like a quiet place, smaller place, you know, and also the straight is a bit shorter and the ground is a bit faster as well.
Maybe Saeed will run first smile at Abu Dhabi. Less to look at if it doesn't work out here. No, I'm only kidding. It won't be a race for her. For all that there's not many runners, there's a lot of depth to this, I think.
Yeah, it's an intriguing race. I mean, it's probably just a glorified novice event, if we're being brutally honest, with not many...
Hey, it's just got a fancy name.
Yeah. Not many of these horses fully exposed yet, and there's only the one of them that's won more than once, that being Topper Bill. But yeah, it's certainly a good race. I suspect Charlie Appleby will probably unleash something in the Maiden Classic itself, but a good opportunity for one of these to bag a good prize. I also, just going back to First Mile, I think going round a bend's going to help her today, and will help Pat Cosgrove as well. Just hold on to her that bit longer. The wide open spaces of the straight track certainly did catch her out last time, and yeah, he'll be hoping for a good pace, which I think he'll probably get. Maybe Chosen Mark will crack on, and Topper Bill was prominent last time. Maybe even Ajmal, who's been quite keen in his races. So there could be 2 or 3 that go on here. This horse is another one that will need a pace. He's quite a free goer. Nebras Passion, just keep an eye on him in the stalls. He was a bit awkward last time, but it's Godolphin dominate the market, but I don't think they're a shoe in here. I quite like a couple of these physically, at least, anyway.
Which one would you want to be on if you got the choice?
I really like Topper Bill.
Yeah.
Because as I say, I think 7 furlong is his right trip.
Can't fault his attitude anyway, Topper Bill. But will this be another one for Godolphin? The market certainly thinks so. First Smile and that filly there, Last Sunset are there too. And there is Topper Bill. Can he make it 2 from 2 here in Dubai?
And however, Lady for Fabrice Ferron about to come along, so only 2 more to go in. Riders sporting black armbands. The sad news of the passing of Pat Buckley this evening. Yeah, a racing legend and, more importantly, a wonderful human being. All set to go now. This is race 5. They're set and they're racing now. Topper Bill began reasonably well. Barber of Seville with plenty of speed outside of it, and Chosen Mark getting up to 3rd. Next of all then is First Mile just taking a sit coming across ahead of Last Sunset. Then came Hawa But Lady. Well, back in the pack then Nebras Passion setting back 2nd to last, and Ajmal was at the rear. They're about to turn down the side, and Barber of Seville shows the way out by 2 lengths over Chosen Mark. Topper Bill over on the inside. Then came First Smile, Last Sunset with the white cap. Hawa But Lady was in the next position from Ajmal, and Nebras Passion over on the inside. 25.6 was the lead. As they come down the side, and Barbara of Seville doing it well on the front. Chosen Mark up on the outside in second. Top of Bill smothered away down on the fence ahead of First Smile. Last Sunset. Then came Hawa Belady. Ajmal's dropped out sharply, and just ahead of it now is Nebraska Passion as they come to the top of the straight. Barbara of Seville second up in the UAE, the leader. Up on the outside, Chosen Mark. Now into the clear is First Smile down the outside, and also pushing into the clear is Top of Bill. Rushing up behind them is Last Sunset. They go to the 250, and Top of Bill, First Smile come together. Over on the inside, Last Sunset finishing well. Top of Bill, First Smile on the outside. Top of Bill, nose in front. First Smile tries to peg it back. Last Sunset over on the inside, but Top of Bill back to back. Top of Bill wins well. Last Sunset might get up for second to tip out First Smile, but it is tight. They were followed by Nebraska Passion. It's run on strongly with the Hawa Belady as they've gone across the wire. Then came the early leader, Barbara of Seville, and Chosen Mark towards the tail with Ajmal. Good performance, Top of Bill. A little bit of deja vu with First Smile going up to eyeball it with about 200 metres to go. First Smile got well and truly ahead of it last time over the 1,200 metres, but again hasn't been able to finish off its race. And Top of Bill, Richie Mullen and Satish Sima has won again. And it's had 2 goes here in the UAE for 2 impressive wins on the turf. So 2 wins since coming from the Adrian Nichols yard, and Top of Bill just too strong. Lovely ride by Richie too over on the inside behind Barbara of Seville. First Smile, the filly on the outside, loomed to win, but just couldn't quite finish the race off. And Last Sunset has got right up on the inside to probably grab second. 125.21 was the winner's time there. 124.21. 124.21 the winner's time. Top of Bill goes back to back to take out the Maiden Classic Trial.
And if anything, it was easier this time, Top of Bill. He was convincing, I think, and I don't think there were any excuses this time for First Smile. I thought she travelled nicely, and I don't think she stopped at all.
I like Top of Bill over 7 furlong because I think it's his right trip, and First Smile just sit right next to him. She was tracking him all the way around. Try to challenge him. He find a nice gap on the inside, and he just quickened up better in the last furlong. He proved to be probably a better horse.
Yeah, I wonder if it helped him, Stephen, that the stablemate Barbara of Seville took the early lead. He didn't have to do all the hard work himself this time.
Yeah, it wasn't too far off a carbon copy, really, of the trial for the trial. It looked as though First Smile was going to throw down a strong challenge, but she's sort of faded again as Top of Bill's found more, and maybe just hanging a little bit into the filly has intimidated her. But he's essentially well on top again, and I don't think, well, certainly I didn't give him the credit that quite clearly he deserved for that last win. He was only rated 68, I think, going into that last race, but he's obviously an improved horse for coming over here, and 7 furlongs was no problem here, and you'd even see him getting a bit further, but that's not going to be required to run in the Maidan Classic, I don't think, or is it?
Changed distance, didn't it?
Yeah, it might be a mile.
I think it's a mile now, which is a distance that has run over. He was 5th over it, which would be a bit of a concern. He didn't seem to get home on that occasion. That was at Ripon.
Yeah, but I think he will stay over a mile.
Here, yeah. Nice flat track.
If he take a lead from someone, he can't settle. He will stay over a mile.
He's got pretty much a sprinting pedigree by Intrinsic, who Stephen mentioned when he won before. His horse that was raced by Mali Al-Basti, won a Stewards Cup out of an Ifraj mare. I just think he's a really, really likeable horse, and I think when he won last time, I interviewed Satish, and he said he's a horse who keeps himself to himself or something like that, suggesting that this was quite the shock. It would have been less of a shock today. And Godolphin 2nd and 3rd, Last Sunset running well as the market thought she would, and our Rashid Borsley each way punts haven't quite come off, Stephen. How Baladi was 4th, though.
Yeah, he ran well. He sort of stuck to his task. The other one, Ajmal, was all at sea around the bend and very keen early, so that was a disappointing run from him. But yeah, this Top of Bill, he's quite a sort of bubbly character, if you like. He paddock schooled here last week, and he was taking everything in, and he's on his toes here, and he's just proven to be a thoroughly likeable horse. And quite often these 3-year-olds, they come over here and get thrown on the dirt straight away, and maybe that can sour one or two of them, but they've been patient with him, kept him for the turf, and well done to his breeder, Mali Al-Basti, who raced the sire as well, Intrinsic, and probably not far off the best one from the stallion now, I suspect.
Yeah, I think he probably is. Good stuff. Well done to the Al Shafa family. We've had owners who have been owners with Satish for an awful long time, and that now takes Satish to 20, leapfrogging Doug Watson and Ali Rashid Al-Rahi, with whom he was level at the start of the day. Takes him into second in the Trainers' Championship, which I'm going to bang on about more than the Carnival one, because those of us that are here all year, it does mean a lot, and we like to keep people informed of it, whether they like it or not. Other eye catchers, Nebras Passion, he came from a long way back and made up quite a lot of ground, but not enough.
He did, yeah. I think they're just trying to settle him, and he's ended up a little bit too much to do and pulled wide. He's not exactly eating up the ground late on, I wouldn't sort of be forgiving him too much for that run. But, yeah, probably a fair enough result, really. The best three horses have filled those positions. Barbara of Seville's looking quite expensively bought now. Maybe they've got the option of sticking him on the dirt, but he's by Kodiak. But yeah, good double for Satish Seemar with the two stable jockeys bagging a winner each.
Yeah, which is nice to see. Any that we should look out for next time, do you think, in there?
To be honest, I like the Bursliors. Because I think, yes, he finished fourth. He keeps improving this horse, you know. He didn't run that bad his first time on the grass against Topperbill and that day, but if you think that was probably his first time ever on the grass,
yeah,
because Rashid doesn't train in Meydan, so he's probably not allowed to go on the grass. So that was actually a good run, and then he ran even better last time in Jebel Ali, and today he showed some improvement, finishing closer to Topperbill, you know. So yeah, I think he will. Is an horse that he can win soon.
Yeah, I think so as well. He was a pretty cheap purchase. In fact, both of these were him and Ajmal. Both of them, I think, actually unsold, and Rashid would have picked them up privately for I imagine, not a great deal. Chosen Mark, we expected him to go forward. That's him in the white silks. But Barbara Seville, Tiger Shea, keen to go out into the lead on this horse, who was pretty prominent last time, but did make all when he won at Catterick in the UK. So perhaps he thought that was the way to get the best out of him, but he's just meant that Richie's has got a lovely position there on the rail.
Yeah, no, as we said before, Richie just took the lead of Barbara Seville, you know, and the horse settled really well, you know, just on the rail, just behind the pace. You can see, like, First Mile just, like, tracking him, you know, and then when First Mile move on the outside, Topperbill find a gap, and he uses it just to win the race. But he stayed on much better today, over 7 furlong. I liked it more, you know, and I wouldn't surprise if in the classic trial over a mile he can still win the race.
She's gone. I think she's even got her head in front again, hasn't she, First Smile? And I think it galvanises him. As soon as something comes to him, he just goes on.
Yeah, but
genuine little horse.
If we have the chance to watch it again, look at action in the last 50 yards. She shortened up her action a lot, kind of like she doesn't really stay, you know.
Yeah.
So you see, Pat Cosgrave is trying to be gentle on her just to challenge in the last furlong, but still, when she has to fight hard, she just loses it, you know. And then last 50 yards, she was very short on her action. Looks like she doesn't really stay.
Yeah, I think so as well. I reckon Saeed will drop her back and find a nice sprint for her, perhaps at home in Europe. But Topperbill, what a super horse he's turning out to be. For his connections, the Ali Al-Shafar and Abdullah Al-Shafar branch of the Al-Shafar family, who are big sponsors at Jebel Ali, actually. Al-Shafar Investment sponsors several races there. I believe they are doing so again tomorrow. So huge supporters of racing in the region. Nice that they're getting a lot of reward for their support. And Richie Mullen, no finer jockey still around here. He's been a fixture for a long time, and it's great to see him get another winner here at the Carnival. Just one more race to go at Meydan, but we start off what is a really busy weekend here in the UAE. We've got 2 more fixtures to come, including 2 pattern races at Jebel Ali tomorrow. Adam can give you a lowdown on what else is to come this weekend.
The Jebel Ali Sprint will be the first of 2 pattern races to be staged up the hill on Friday afternoon. Musaba Al-Maheri's Al Karamo was somewhat of a surprise winner of the race 12 months ago. The 5-year-old son of War Front had his pipe opener in the Dubawi Stakes and should take all the beating now, with Jim Crowley on board. Dark Silver is a rapidly progressive dirt sprinter. Ahmad bin Harmash's 4-year-old has plenty to find on ratings, but is speedy and has proven to be effective on the track. Fanar is unexposed as a dirt sprinter. His form, when beaten just 3 lengths by Equilateral on turf at Meydan, reads quite well in the context of this race. Shanagai City is a 3-time course and distance winner and goes in search of his 4th victory of the campaign.
Shanagai City the outside, Dahawi fights hard with it. Shanagai City getting the upper hand of the late stages. 3rd win of the season for Shanagai City, races away and wins well.
The Jebel Ali Stakes look set to go the way of table-topping handler Salim bin Gadeir. He saddled 3 strong contenders, with Taylor's Row arriving in a rich vein of form. The 7-year-old has won his last 3 races, and Jose Santiago will get the leg up on him. Furness has tasted victory on 4 of his last 5 starts, including in December's listed Entisar Stakes. McFancy was a Group 1 winner in his days in France. The McPhee colt has 3 1/4 lengths to find on Furness and could be capable of turning the tables. Sultaran Dubai represents Satish Seemar, and this gelding is good enough to make his presence felt. 15 will line up for the concluding 1800-metre handicap, including a pair of formidable contenders from Musaba Al-Maheri. Welsh Lord was a winner at Meydan back in November, but needs to bounce back from a poor showing on his latest run. Dark of Night could be the one here. This late-running grey has been performing nicely up the hill in recent weeks. Abu Dhabi stages 6 races on Sunday evening. The feature in the capital will be the 230,000 dirham round 1 of the Arabian Triple Crown. It looks a hot contest with the unbeaten Hamim in the lineup. Abdallah Al-Hamadi's colt is 4 from 4 and should go in again. The final race of the weekend will be a thoroughbred handicap over 1.5 miles. Fauzi Nas and Adri de Vries combine with Hard Taskmaster, who ran well behind Global Heat at Meydan. That one will face off against Son of Normandy, who was a course and distance winner just 2 weeks ago and looks set for another bold show under Fernando Jara.
A trophy presentation then takes place for our Maiden Classic Trial, and a big well done to the Al Shafa family with this very likeable topper bill picking up his 2nd race in a row here at Meydan, which isn't easy to do, particularly on the turf, particularly against Godolphin. He deserves a lot of credit, this horse. Expertly trained, of course, by those at Zabil stables. Bhupat Seemar's going to do the honours on behalf of Satish, who is here, but obviously thought he'd let Bhupat pick up a trophy. I don't think Bhupat takes a day off for about 7 months of the year. Works incredibly hard alongside his wife Caroline, who's one of the main riders that they have at Zabil. And Richie Mullen, former champion, still riding as well as ever. And he had a very willing partner there, which of course helps. Well, before we showed you that trophy presentation, we had a little preview of what's coming tomorrow. Sadly, you won't be riding at Jebel Ali, Antonio, but your yard have got some really nice chances. And the Jebel Ali Sprint, you won it last year on Al Karama. Do you think he can win it again?
I think he can. The horse just needed one race to change his mind, because he's quite laid back horse, and he's very lazy. Like in the morning, he wasn't showing much. He was a bit, let's say, a bit off.
Yeah.
But after his race here in Meydan a couple of weeks ago, the horse switched on. And I sat on him the other day, and he gave me a great feeling. I told Musaba that he's probably ready to win again. So I think he stands a very good chance tomorrow in the Jebel Ali Sprint.
Yeah, he does have a really good chance. It's a good race, and more on that in a moment or two. But before we do that, let's hear from Richie Mullen about Topper Bill.
Joined by Richie Mullen after the victory of Topper Bill. I don't think too many people gave this horse too much credit for that last win, but he's certainly looks a nice horse after that now.
I'd probably have to hold my hands up there and say I was one of them as well, Stephen. No, look, we felt the last day that Pat's horse might have just pulled up in front and give him the benefit, but he still had to hit the line well, and he did, and I just felt that he would get further the way he galloped out after his last run. We went a nice pace today. I was able to travel extremely well into it. It was just a matter of Tig not dying too soon and Andrea keeping going, that I was able just to get the spit when I wanted to. But, in fairness to the horse, every time, Patsy came to me, he kept pulling out. And I felt if we'd have gone round again, he'd have just kept pulling out. He's just a very, very honest horse. And like I say, I got back to, his education as a young horse of Adrian Nichols. He's done a fantastic job and prepared him well. We haven't had him all that long, and he's come here to win any race at Meydan is special, but for him to come and win a carnival race as well, he's also a bright future. He moves very well on the grass, and he's got all the credentials to do well out here.
You've already answered my question about the mile, but you wouldn't see that as a problem next time?
I don't see it being as a problem. I mean, look, you never know until you run, but he seems to hit the line well. He hit the line well again there, and if anything, it was him idling today. So I'd like to think he'd get it. So if you don't try, you don't know. But like I say, he's an exciting horse going forward. He's got a very good brain mentally, which is, like I say, that was from his early days, and that'll stand him in good stead for racing out here under the lights and under the big atmosphere.
A nice spare in the last for Charlie Appleby, Ottoman Court. Have you spoken to Charlie about this one?
Yeah, I spoke to Charlie. Look, he's been off a while, but he said the horse is working very well. He's at the right end of the handicap, and look, he's got his horses in great shape, so hopefully, look, to come away with one winner, but I won't begrudge another one.
Well done here, Rich.
Cheers, Steve, thanks.
Thanks, as always, to Richie Mullen. Nice that he's getting some support from Godolphin. And as you heard there, we'll be riding for him in our closing race on Ottoman Court. This is a very tough race with which to close things out. As usual, Meydan have left the most competitive race until last. It is our sprint over the 1,200 metres, so we're quite well off for sprints this weekend. As we mentioned, the Jebel Ali sprint taking place tomorrow, along with the Jebel Ali Stakes. It's a big day up the hill. All the action gets underway at 1:45 tomorrow. We've got a non-runner in this race coming up, Silver Line. Doesn't go, which was good news for the connections of Dream today, who was actually declared in our opening dirt contest, but under a rule change, we can now declare for 2 races, and so they withdrew him for that, and they're running him in this, which suits him an awful lot better in that he is a win over course and distance. We've got a little bit of time till they come into the parade ring, so we'll give you a bit more information on that Jebel Ali race that we were talking about earlier on. No, we won't, apparently. We'll show you this instead. This is the super finale. XTR, if he's on his best, I think he'll win, but it's not going to be easy. Vale of Kent, there will be a jockey change on that one. We know Mikkel's been stood down. Could be King. Silver Line's the non-runner. Final song, Fleeting Prince, one of a couple of internationals in this. Alfarik, the only runner tonight for Masab Al-Maheri. Killfresh Memories went quite nicely on debut for Erwin Sharpie last time. Man of Promise, Yalail. Ottoman Court's been off a long time, 454 days. Wings of Time, Frank bin Hamash, just having his 3rd start for him. Es Racco, good luck to Scandinavian connections with this one. King Ragnar, got quite a good chance. I thought he ran well last time behind Equilateral. And Dream today is £3 lower than when he won here over course and distance back in 2019. That was when he was trained by Jamie Osborne. He's now with Odo McGuinness in Ireland. He also comes out of that same Equilateral race. This is going to be difficult, isn't it? It's a good race.
Yes, 6 furlong, straight course, good race, plenty of runners. It's going to be difficult.
We often get a shock in these, and Masaba has provided quite a few shocks in these sprint races over the years. Alfarik would be a big shock, though, wouldn't it? First try over this trip, and it's only his 2nd start for the yard, so imagine you're all still getting used to him.
Yeah, he's a new horse. He came from France for Sheikh Hamdan, and the other day he ran over 7 furlong, over a mile, sorry. He showed some speed, he was quite keen, but then he didn't stay. But I think he just needed a race, because he didn't run since August. Today I think 6 furlong is a bit too sharp for him, especially in a good race like this with XTR, could be King and horses
proper sprinters.
Yeah, proper sprinters, you know, so it's going to be like very hard for him.
We've already mentioned the Jebel Ali Sprint. The Jebel Ali Stakes takes place tomorrow as well up the hill. And this is the lineup for it. It's a really good lineup, but not the best of luck tonight, the Bin Gudea team, but Furness goes for them, as does Taylor's Row. What a good race this is. We've got another page of these runners as well. I thought McFancy was a huge eye-catcher last time. Is it quite open, or do you think Furness will just win tomorrow? He's got the form over the course.
Listen, he improves a lot this season. Before he refused to race, I think a couple of times, and then probably they found a problem. The horse improved, and he's showing like some very good performances. You know, especially when he won the Entisar. It was just very good, and I like that Taylor's Row guaranteed the pace in that race. Sultan in Dubai will probably go close to don't get some kickback, and it'll be interesting to see. Like it's a race that it will suit Sanad Libya. Like it's probably not this class, but he's a nice horse, and he can find like a perfect race for him.
Yeah, he stays really well, doesn't he, Sanad Libya?
And he looks like he enjoy running in Jebel Ali as well.
And what do you do? Obviously, we're lucky enough to have you on the TV tonight, which we thank you for. It's been fantastic. When you're not riding, you're suspended. You don't go to Jebel Ali. Do you watch on TV, or do you just think, I don't want to see it, it's too annoying?
No, well, I think, just... If it was a different time, I wouldn't mind to go to racings. But now with COVID and things like this, I'd probably rather stay home. And, I will watch it home in the TV. I enjoy to watch it. Unfortunately, I'm not there, especially because there is a few horses that I was really keen to ride. But it is what it is, and tomorrow I will be watching at home.
And how do you keep your fitness when you're off? You're naturally very light. Do you do a bit of extra gym work, a bit of extra running, anything like that?
I'm not very light, unfortunately.
Are you not?
No, also because I love food.
You are Italian, they have the best
being
food.
Italian, pizza and pasta is my favorite. But no, apart from that, I always go to the gym, try to do something, and obviously try to be light all the time. You need to keep your weight down, It's also to be like always in a good shape for the racing,
You're back on Sunday. It's not that long off. This is XTR, who's the class act, I think, in here. Doug maybe feels he's keeping back a little bit, hence he slapped the blinkers on this time. And he was only a length and 3/4 behind Equilateral last time, running on, as you'd expect, because his form is over this 1,200 metres. He'd never previously run over 1,000 metres. Pat Cosgrave, who is doing pretty light here, speaking of light. He is down to do 53.5 on King Ragnar, whose owner, Sheikh Mana Mohammed Rashid Mana Al Maktoum, has been a really enthusiastic newish owner, so we wish him all the best. This is Vale of Kent, who's got decent form in England, 8-time winner there, in fact. Just had one start here on the dirt. He'll be much happier back on the turf by Kodiak out of a hauling mare. He's only having his second try over this. He probably is better over a bit further, Vale of Kent. Seems pretty busy in the parade ring tonight. Tig would have been delighted that Dream Today got into this race. Unfortunately, it came a bit late for us to quiz him about the horse on the winning line yesterday. This Could Be King. I thought he ran really well behind Land of Legends last time, but again, he's only had a couple of starts over this trip. 3 starts.
I mean, he finished second in a listed race over 6. Today is kind of the same, but it might be a little bit too short. But he's drawn 11. I like his drawn. I think he will be an horse that he could he have an each way chance,
Yeah, I think so as well. He's got very strong form, as you say. He travelled beautifully during that Alpha Healy Fort last time. This is quite a step down in grade as well to a listed handicap from a Group 2. It's his final song, who for a brief second looked like she was going to win the Guineas in England last year. She's been highly tried. She was second to Glorious Journey in a listed race. She ran in the Group 1, the Sun Chariot, back at the end of the last year. Then she was sick behind Land of Legends. Just her second try over this trip. There were excuses for her last time, and she's a class act, and Frankie rides her. There's quite a few positives for final song.
Yeah, that Frankie picks her. she's probably have a chance. Even so, I think 6 furlong is a bit too sharp, you know. They will go pretty hard, I believe, and yeah, I think it's a bit too sharp. But of course, she will be up there. Probably she will come late, but she will get there.
She's a very game filly final song. I like her a lot. I agree, though. I think she's probably seen to best effect over 1,400 metres. This is your Firebreak. Well, he's Sheikh Hamdan's, but you know a lot about him. He's a bonny looking horse, isn't he? By Dark Angel, out of a Cape Cross mare. I guess Masaba's just trying to see, I suppose. There's no other suitable race for him. Why not have a go at a sprint?
Yeah, no, I'm probably trying to sharpen it up, you know, because in the morning he showed like some speed, like I say, and then last time he was quite keen over a mile, but looking at his form, he ran in a listed race of a 10 furlong and finished third, you know. So
let's hear from Stephen in the parade ring.
I'm joined by Mohammed Mahdood, who's the assistant trainer to Mike de Kock here in Dubai. You saddle King Ragnar. I thought that was a really encouraging run last time.
Yeah. He improved from coming from England to Dubai, because we use the advantage of Dubai having horses winter over here. You know, the grounds and everything, the facilities that Maidan give to us, and the horses are looking great. You know, King Ragnar improved since we saw him in England, and he had his last run in the 1,000 meters. He showed absolute class, and we hope to see that today also.
And obviously over the longer trip you're hoping that he can keep closer order early in the race?
Of course. Orders were set by Mike to the jockeys, and we're going to see what Patsy is hiding for us with King Ragnar today.
And obviously you're very keen to get Pat Cosgrave. 53.5 kilos would be very light for him, wouldn't it?
Yeah, of course. He did an excellent job. He kept his weight, and let's see where we go.
Well, we wish you all the best. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Cheers. All the best.
Sorry.
This is one of the most interesting horses in the race, Man of Promise. He runs for the first time since being gelded. He's won one of his 3 starts that came at Yarmouth over 1,400 metres. He was second behind Musicality in a pretty good Newmarket handicap. He's only a 4-year-old. He's got a lot of upside to him, as the Americans would say. This is going to be tough for him against proper sprinters, but nevertheless, he's the exciting one. He's around about second favourite, I think. Ottoman Court, been off since November 2019. We actually beat King Ragnar 6 lengths on that occasion. That was a very good run. This is Wings of Time, who ran behind Mystique Moon last time we saw him. That was back in October. I wonder if he's maybe had a bit of a setback, do you think?
Yeah, he probably need a race. Same as if you see Pennsylvania's Dutch, you know, in the first race, probably the same. He hasn't run since October, and it seems like Vinarmash's horses, they always need a race when they have that time off, you know. Probably be a nice horse for the next time.
Yeah, he's beautifully bred by Invincible Spirit out of Marie de Medici, which makes him a half brother to Local Time, I believe. Dream today is a proper sprinter, gets his best conditions here, and therefore could just be being a little bit ignored. I think he's quite well handicapped on the best of his form. He won 2 starts ago, which was in September at Goodwood. Being a useful sort could delegate this Lord. He was well held behind Equilateral. That's the concern. But then I think 1,000 metres is probably a bit sharp for him. Nice lightweight at 53.5 kilos. I think he's got an okay chance. I don't think he'll win it necessarily Dream today, but I can see him finishing in the money.
Yeah, he's only 6 lengths behind the Equilateral last time. 53.5 is a bit of a help, you know, the lightweight. Tagoshi, like he picked him on the first reserve, you know. I think he'll have a chance to finish to pick up a check, you know, in this race. Be hard to be like placed, but he'll have a chance to pick up a check.
There won't be much between them, that's for sure. Stephen's back with us. Mohammed Mahdood, quite an asset to the Mike de Kock team, isn't he? Apart from anything else, he got them this owner.
Yeah, indeed, and nice horse as well. Yeah, they're obviously confident of a better run than last time. A horse that's probably going to work his way into the Carnival, may even just need this run, but I do think it's quite significant, as Mohammed pointed out there, that Pat Cosgrave has has done his best to get down to 53.5.
I think he's putting up a bit of overweight, but I'm not sure quite how much.
It'll probably be a kilo, I would say, but yeah, significant that he's on, and yeah, he's got to have a good chance. Sometimes you can get carried away with fast finishes, but he really did come from the clouds over that 1,000 metres and would have a good race, a good chance. It's an interesting race in that I made it 9 of the 14 runners here, which now with the non-runner becomes, I suppose, 10. 8 of them that need 7 furlongs.
Yeah.
Dream today is fine over 6, so he comes in.
So's XTR fine over 6, but Vale of Kent, Could Be King, Final Song, Fleeting Prince. Alfred might want even further.
I had Yalail and Wings of Time and King.
See, now I think Yalail's really interesting because he's only run once over this trip when he was 5th behind Wildman Jack. That was a pretty good effort. He's I love Yalail. He's one of my favourites. I think he's a nice little horse who always goes forward, but then we can mistake always going forward for having speed. What do you think about Yalail? You'll have run against him.
I think he can have a chance, yes, because if you think of that race with Wildman Jack now is breaking all the track records.
It was amazing
on the turf, on the dirt, you know. So, I mean, he has a chance, but I prefer to be honest, still XTR. Even if he has 62 kilos, but the other day his comeback when he got beat like a length and 3/4 by Equilateral, that was a very good run, and now with one race on his legs, I think he will have a big chance tonight.
Yeah, King Ragnar is actually the horse who's just gone out of picture in the burgundy silks with the noseband. You'll see him in a bit. What did you make of this run from Equilateral? Anything here that made you think, yes, blinkers?
I don't know. I suppose there's the middle part of the race where Doug felt that he was just going through the motions a bit, and that's where he lost the ground on the front 3, who were basically in those positions throughout. But I think to forgive him that, it was his first go at 5 furlongs. Maybe just after sharpening him up, you know, it's he's getting on in years. He's now a 7-year-old, so maybe just try something different to eke out that extra length, which, you know, may just be needed to defy 62 kilos. He's won off 110 before. But I just think, even without the blinkers, he'd be an altogether sharper horse tonight. And these class acts, he's got the top weight. He's definitely the one to beat.
As I look at Andrea Razzini's mount, Could Be King. Andrea, a jockey you know well?
Yeah, very good friend with Andrea.
Are you from the same place, both from Sardinia?
Yeah, we're both from Sardinia, yes.
Super jockey, he really is. We're lucky to have him here. This Could Be King's run, and indeed Final Song is in here as well in the Al-Fahidi Fort. Could Be King, I just thought it's the way he travelled, Stephen, that I liked. He's still there at the end. He was never going to win this, but it was a good run and a big drop down in grade. Yeah,
and he's sort of one that you'd pigeonhole as 7 furlongs, but again has a bit of potential maybe back at 6. It's just his 4th go at it. He's run well. Straight 6 at the Curra it was, where he ran well in finishing 2nd. So you could argue he's got a bit of potential, and as you mentioned in that Al-Fahidi Fort, he had no problem in line up with the pace. So if he can take a sit in that 2nd rank, again, I don't think you want to be coming from too far back here, which would again be the detriment of King Ragnar's chance for all he shaped well. We haven't really seen a sprint yet where they've come from too far back. I can't recall.
We haven't had many sprints on this turf.
No, I'm just trying to think what won last week. Last Saturday's card.
Well, that was the one before.
The Saturday's card. We had Etisalat, who was always prominent. That's won a race. Obviously, Equilateral was never too far away. So yeah, we'll see how it pans out. But XTR's a class act.
I like this man of
very interesting, isn't he? Man of promise.
I like his draw, basically.
Well, looks like they're nearly all in. A fascinating finale to an interesting day.
Javsa. Here's Franco back in the UAE, about to come forward. Man of promise goes up to the outermost gate. Now they're almost set to go. Dubai sprints. Plus the barrier staff leave the front. King Ragnar to settle in one. Gates go back and they're racing. Ektiar seemed to get a fairly nice start, but then had a bit of a bumping duel with Esraco shortly after the start. Away quickly, Yarlale down here on the fence. Also, Dream Today shows a little bit of speed. Looks like they will split for the first time for the season. King Ragnar's back in the pack. Kilfrush Memories away quickly. Ektiar's going to be about fifth on that rails side. Outside of it is Could Be King and Fleeting Prince, and getting back is Vale of Kent. Dream Today back on the inside. Out here, Wider Man and Promises going to the front. Over in second position, Alphareek. Just behind them, Final Song. And back at the tail of the stand side is Wings of Time. So they have split wide apart here as they come down with 450 metres to go. Yarlale the leader over Esraco. Ektiar begins to hit a stride out in the middle. Out Wider Man of Promises right in play as well. They come inside the final 300 metres, and Man of Promises going to the lead and dashed away. Coming after it is Final Song on the outside. So it's the stand side that has it here. Man of Promise in front. Final Song tries to stick with it, but Man of Promise ups the ante in the late stages. Careers away. Back from a gelding operation. Man of Promise is way too good. Second, Final Song running on hard for third, Fleeting Prince. Then Could Be King. Close up Esraco. Ektiar didn't finish it off. They were followed up by next across the line there, Yarlale. With it back in the pack was, as they've gone across the line, Kilfrush Memories. They were followed by Alphareek, Vale of Kent, Dream Today, Wings of Time, King Ragnar, and back at the tail was Ottoman Court. Easy one there for Man of Promise for William Buick, and Charlie Appleby has jogged up in the final race of the night. As mentioned, back from a gelding operation, we've had quite a few winners so far this season in Carnival that have come back from that and proven too good. Final Song has run well. Generally earlier on in the season, these straight races have been won by horses a little closer to the inside running rail, but I guess with the rail out so far here tonight, out 12 metres, it kind of forced the hand of a few, but certainly outside division has proven too strong, and Man of Promise will get the result over Final Song, and a good run by Fleeting Prince into third ahead of Could Be King. We stand by for all the details after the Dubai Sprint, sponsored by JAFSA.
Well, the last thing Antonio said was, I like Man of Promise, I like his draw, and he is very much on top, possibly aided by being drawn this side.
Yeah, I think, you know, especially when the rail is out 12 meters like this, you always get like some advantages, you know, when you drawn this wide on the straight course. And I like the horse. Didn't have much experience, but like I say, it showed like some improvement. And William Buick, Charlie Appleby, Godolphin team, you know, he has to have a chance. Plus, the draw helped him a lot, I think.
Yeah, it definitely did. And that the second Final Song has also come along this side. She was drawn in 10. Fleeting Prince has run an absolute belter in third. He was drawn in 9. Could Be King has finished fourth. He was drawn in 11. I think Antonio might be right.
Yeah, I think that backs it up. And it sort of shifted the second half of last Carnival, didn't it? That you wanted to be drawn high. I seem to remember a sprint dominated, but it's... well, obviously it's not that hard to predict because Antonio did beforehand, but from one meeting to the next. And look, this horse had the potential anyway, could well have won wherever he was, just his fourth start, and very impressive. And Charlie Appleby rather hinted as much in various interviews that he was a very good horse, and beat Final Song, who's returned to form. And at least the Travellers, the Europeans, finished third and fourth with Fleeting Prince, Could Be King, and A.S. Racco in fifth. He ran well. He was more towards the far side in stall 7. He stuck more towards that rail and more towards the centre, and he's picked up a bit of prize money there. But yeah, this horse has been completely dominant, and that's Charlie Appleby's 100th winner here in the UAE from just 440 odd runners. Not a bad
about
strike rate.
5-6 years he's been training, I think now, Charlie. It's a very, very good effort by all concerned. Sophie Christian on the right is very, very reliable and hard-working travelling groom, or head travelling groom, I think she is. But William Buick has probably really enjoyed that spin round because the horse is much the best. He's won by 3 lengths in a good race. That takes some doing. The Alpha Heady Fort form has stood up quite nicely with Final Song, and Could Be King filling 2 of the top 4 spaces. Ektiar, he was a bit short of room in the closing stages, big weight, but I'm still going to say it's been a bit disappointing.
He's probably lost a step, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's now 7 years old, and maybe the blinkers fired him. He found himself quite isolated in the centre of the track as well, so there'll be one or two excuses, but I don't think you'd be rushing to back in maybe next time. He might come down a couple of pounds, which is possibly what he needs, but yeah, it was there'll be one or two you'd say you'd give another chance to, drawn in the centre to far side, that just could never really look as though they were landing a blow. It'd be interesting to see the replay if this horse has been in front pretty much throughout. He was obviously going solo down the near side in front, but whether he led the group outright. But clearly a very talented sprinter, as his 3 previous runs had suggested, with his only real disappointment coming on soft ground.
Yeah, the top 6 have all been drawn sort of middle to high. Okay, they might well have been the best horses in the race, but nevertheless, it does suggest that next time the stand side will be the place to look. But a nice unexposed horse, and Charlie Appleby said right at the start of the carnival, we're missing a superstar. We haven't got Blue Point, we haven't got Guineas. I'm not suggesting for a second this horse is as good as Blue Point, but maybe it will be one day, because that was a dominant effort.
I think the worrying aspect is that Charlie's probably got 2 better sprinters already pointing towards the group sprints in the form of Lazuli and
Space Blues.
No, Space Blues is going to go to Saudi. There's another one, Royal something or other, I think.
I know what you mean. We'll come back to me in a moment.
He ran in the Commonwealth Cup. He's another one. So yeah, dangerous times if you've got a sprint horse over here.
Yeah, I wonder if many people would have had Man of Promise in their Albacieca World 10 to follow. So Charlie, as Stephen says, has flagged him up in a couple of interviews that he's done very helpfully. And the red cap of Godolphin coming home in front on this occasion. And the interesting thing about this Man of Promise, Antonio, is so bred for the dirt, isn't he? Into mischief out of a Speightstown mare. It'd be lovely to see him on that, but why would you now he's been this good on the turf?
No, but that's what I say. It'd be interesting to see him on the dirt because of his breeding, you know. And but at the moment, I'm sure they were gonna keep him on the grass because of this performance. And today was very good, the way he quickened up last furlong, you know, and this was a good race, and he did everything easy, to be honest. Last 2 furlong, he's still traveling on the bridle, that was a serious performance.
Yeah, he's drawn next to Al Farik, who actually took them along. They sort of split, and he's been the one who's gone with that Man of Promise on this near side. Then on the far side, as we thought, in the black cap of Sheikh Hamdan, that's Yalail with the blinkers, who's gone forward there as he tends to do in all of his races. And yeah, you're right about Ekhtiar, Stephen. He is very much in the middle, but so is ES Racco. Yeah. He's a bit more over towards the far side, but yeah, and I think perhaps you can therefore upgrade the performance of Fleeting Prince there, because he's also in the middle.
Yeah, he's done very well. Actually, just looking at the replay, they've not come hard at the rail, have they? It's
no.
A few horse widths off it. Royal Crusade was the Charlie horse that I was
that's it, yeah.
Yeah, trying to think of. I mean, we could just be dealing with the 2 best horses, but this strip of ground that we're looking at here, it's only ever really used for track work in the morning, so it's not pretty much virgin ground that they're racing on, whereas all over the track, I'm not saying it gets choppy, but they do take the top off here, don't they? And it can get a little bit uneven, maybe, as the time goes on.
You mean on the inside?
Yeah.
Yes, probably, yes. Especially in the last races, you know. They never use the outside.
No.
Unless they go like one time in the week just for a gallop, you know. But in the gallop here, they're only gonna gallop like maybe 10 horses in one morning. Yeah, it wouldn't be many. So it's a nice ground, always like fresh ground. So that's probably why they get some advantages coming on the stand side.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. You have to apply for permission, I think, don't you, to gallop on the turf? You can't just turn up.
On the day before, yes.
Yeah. As a reminder of what's happened tonight, it's been a very good night of racing. Started well for Doug Watson, who may have a new sprinter to follow in canvas. Sabin Thrall can always be relied on to provide us with a carnival winner, and he did so with a stayer to follow in Dubai Future. Muhib, the classy one, just got up in our Guineas. Secret Ambition fully deserved another Group 3 success, and that was a dominant win from him in the feature, the Firebreak Stakes, as double for Satish Seema, who followed up with Topper Bill in the Maiden Classic Trial, and Man of Promise with Charlie Appleby completed a Godolphin double in our finale. A very good sprint. Been an absolute pleasure having you on with us, Antonio. We'd love to have you back, although we rather hope you'll be riding and not suspended again. Which horse, apart from Military Law, obviously, are you looking forward to for the rest of the season?
No, first of all, thank you to having me. That was a pleasure, and I really enjoy to be here tonight. And apart from Military Law, you know, we have a nice horse. He came off.